Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Sam Durbidge, or Samuel Durbidge, Samuel Loomis, newly awakened, however you want to look at it. Most people on this channel know me as who I am. The reason why I still keep my name, I've always thought about changing my name to a new name. Just because of my origins of leaving the church that I just was part of and reasons, but I actually prefer to keep the name I have based off of the connections of ancestry, that the ancestor that left England or came to America was named Samuel as well. And the reason why this individual came to America is so that his ancestors could have the American dream, so that they could have belief in what they want to believe, or have belief in, worship in the way they want to worship, have the freedoms. And that's why they came into America during that time. And I found out in family history when I grew up in the church about a Samuel Durbidge, but later on when my parents went to Scotland and England and those places, one of my brothers that went with my parents learned or mentioned about this, and they found the chapel where that individual Samuel would have been married. Now, my parents said that my dad insisted he gave me my name through praying. Other people and relatives say that he said that to every one of his child. They're sure. But from what I was told, I was actually told specifically, even when I left the church, my dad brought it up and was kind of upset about it. But he says, don't expect me to change the religion I'm like, I'm not expecting you to do that, nor do I expect my parents. Now, what really bothers me is they've put me down and thought badly and have ignored my needs and health situations back and forth. At first, they agree to it, and then they don't, and then they agree, and then they don't. I always compared them to the way that I noticed Lemon and Lemuel acted. My family, even my brothers and others, always, when growing up in the church, I always compared others to the scriptures and to stories and actors and other stuff to try to relate and understand who they relate to and how I can understand them and how I see them as. Now, they don't always see, or they don't always like me mentioning those similarities that I've noticed. Now, I've had people make similarities of me to things that I didn't see myself as. I looked at it and I was trying to be open-minded about it, and like, how did they see me being that, or in what way are they misinterpreting? There was one guy that I met that compared me to a guy who is in Mysterious of Disguise, where he does the turtle club thing, joke in it and stuff like that. I'm compared to him. Me and him might look similar. I've also been told that when I smile, or sometimes when I make certain facial expressions, I look like Jim Carrey. But if they've seen my brother Carrey, they would actually look at him and be like, whoa, he looks exactly like Jim Carrey. Like he could be a doppelganger. And that's no joke. My brother even has the sound, the similar voice. He has a similar look. I don't think he smiles as big as Jim Carrey does, but it's interesting that there are doppelgangers among us, and it made me wonder, well, are we secretly clones for actors and whatever, that the elite are the real humans and we're the clones? Or are they the clones and they're trying to use our blood and genetics so that they can live longer and look healthier and be more successful? Are they secretly messing with us at night and messing with our DNA and taking it so that they can be strong and healthy and not have health issues while we suffer? And so that's one of the thoughts that I've had going through this journey of after my book being written and experiences. And so I bring this up before I start reading this introduction, page 1, And so this is where it starts off, the pages of the experiences, because I already went into the pre-pages. Now I'm going into and the end page in the back of the book and the front of the book. Now I'm going to be reading the introduction and on. But yeah, my family doesn't like me making any kind of insight about what I've seen them do or who they are. Sometimes they're okay with it, and they seem to be very sensitive of me bringing up my interpretations and recognition of what I've seen and what I experienced. And the same with other friends and everything. But for me, I was compared to Golem and Smeagol growing up because I could do the voice to some degree, but I've heard other people that can do it a lot better than me. And so for me, it's not about attention. I used to like some of it, but I wanted to be more of a hero rather than a villain. And I didn't want to be looked at as a psychopath. I was able to do really good voice impressions here and there and try to look like that, try to be like that. So one of my favorite things was in Boy Scout camp or Scout camp a long time ago. Back then it was called Boy Scouts. They actually had me, or we were on a hike and I was compared to Yoda, or I tried to be like Yoda, and I tried to do some of the Yoda sounds because I always liked the idea of being a powerful hero or someone with the Force. And in the church I grew up in, everybody compared Jedis to missionaries and to prophets and to the High Council, and they Council 12, all these different things. And then there's all these other Council of 12s out there in society that talk about Valvallian Thor, extraterrestrial origins to Venus, and connections to a huge galactic council and different stuff against bad reptilians and other species, but to try to hope that they change, and against AI and all, just different stuff, and about becoming a higher way of being type of idea. And the scriptures are hinting that, the Bible is hinting that, and some of the representations in all the different Bible stories talk about alien life, but it's been kind of covered up a little bit more. And the Vatican has those records, but so does Tibetan monks in Himalayas. All the top religion records, wherever all the different places of the religions where the records are said to be or around, they have them in their secret places or rooms, ready to have them known when the world is ready for it. But each one of them are following a different path of what they think the religion is teaching, rather than what it really is saying. I think the closest was Greg Braden realizing about the energy science understandings and learning from Tibetan monks and the idea of Himalaya salt and Celtic salt and all these different cultures and lands, and everything just came together when I got drawn to it. Like I was told by a higher self I would, a higher self that came in the name of Jesus, who I could accept. But this one was more of a unconditional. But I've been told by my mother and others that that me choosing not to follow God, that makes me mentally ill, which is interesting, with their perspective for bringing up things that I've noticed and experienced by bringing up my book. I've been attacked secretly and upfrontly, and people have seen it, but they didn't see what was happening in my personal life. And so I was actually being physically attacked by their secret tech, and some of it they didn't hide. Some of it they just stumbled upon me stumbling upon seeing them. So there are organizations out there, and I don't know if they're all the same kind of organizations. I think there's good and I think there's bad. Now, my definition of good is different than maybe their definition of good. I'm talking about anything that helps humanity, protects us, helps us grow, and helps any species that wants to do peace and healing, creation. That's what I see as good. Anybody that's really trying to help and protect from any evil trying to take us over or enslaving us in any way. But most of the government programs and agencies have follow their rules of law and what the law has decided, and their form of ethics is not ethical. And so it kind of gets confusing when you find out all these tricks of the system and beings that are among that have different rules of laws and agreements of their society, and they're trying to balance with all of them, is very scary and very dangerous, because you don't know who the good ones are and who the bad ones are. And making all these treaties with bad dudes is because of the tech that they have that could be catastrophic for our particular species and others. But then there's tricks to it. But I found out if we just get into meditation states through blessing and just thinking that we're all okay without judgment, with healing, rather than thinking that I'm trying to judge. I've had a lot of my family and friends or whatever get after me for me just wanting to meditate and pray and create reality, and for them to see that. That's the piece I want to focus on. The gift of the blessing idea that Greg Braden brings up, and Bruce Lipton talks about following in love, all the within the time can stop, and that you focus on that from the heart, and you just want to heal, you just want to hug, you just want to create a way to manifest the needs of others, and to pay attention to how to provide that and take it seriously. Not ignore it, not think that you can't do anything about it, or that the individual has to do it themselves. It's about meditating and praying unconditionally, listening to that person's heart. And when you hear dangerous, weird things happening to them, regardless whether you believe what they believe or say or not about it, instead of saying, oh, they're mentally ill, how about you listen and not selective listen, and not selective read, not selective hear, but talk and question about what is being asked or told. All I want is, simply put, is let's just bless things into being in a way that I figured out how to do. And that's my focus now, and that's what helped me heal and find healings whenever I had things happen. But instead, because of the pains of my family and others, they've put me down. They threatened me with saying I'm mentally ill, I need help, and all these things, and trying to push me, trying to threaten me, not worrying about what I just noticed, not caring about the danger there, and not willing to meditate and pray unconditionally. And I don't blame them, because it's their choice to, but that's why they're not in my life. That's why I've had to step away, because of the threats and the doubts of my heart. And then the other thing is the lack of them communicating. What they've done is they expect me to communicate in the way they want, and I physically and mentally can't handle their way of communicating. I want to heal and correct things through prayer and meditation and finding solutions. They're so busy with their jobs and everything, which is fine. What has bothered me is anytime I've been hurt or had something happen in my life, they've always told me, suck it up, or, or our life is worse than yours. That's the approach they always take. Our life is worse than yours. Or they think I'm saying my life is worse than theirs. I don't know if my life is worse than theirs. I know physically I've dealt with more physically, breaking a lot of bones and things, and they can't understand how that feels, because a lot of them haven't broken bones as much as I have. And so it's hard for them to relate. They saw me go through it, and so they think they understand it just because they saw me go through it. And then they were judged trying to help their brother being a disabled person in their eyes, maybe. I don't know what they're thinking or what their purpose is, because they've never shared that with me. I've tried asking, but whenever I ask, they've tried to do different approaches to push away the answer, to not give me the answer. In fact, if I knew they wanted me to ask it, then great, then I can ask it, but that communication isn't there. And them responding to how I saw a dream about them, or being upset that I said something that I felt about them, without them calling me and saying, hey, Sam, I didn't know you felt that way. Are you okay? I'm sorry that you had a dream that I would do something like that. I'm sorry that you would think there must be some kind of confusion between me and you. I'm sorry that your emotions are being affected to think that I would do that, and I do love you and I care about you. I'm sorry that you would even think that I would do something that mean. Must mean I'm not. That must mean I must have done something that hurt you, and your brain is feeling hurt by it. And I'm sorry for whatever that hurt is. Let's make amends. Let's figure that out. But I don't get that from them. Instead, they run away or they hide or they don't talk. And what's interesting is they're all older than me. Shouldn't they be smarter and able to understand that? More mature about that? If they're more mature, wouldn't they be able to do those things? And I'm not saying they're not mature. I'm not saying that they're not. Could be that they're just busy and they have life. But that's also an excuse for all of us. But I don't care about all of those things, really. All I want is, it's not about how our feelings are. It's about creating a reality so that we can all be healed. So then later, when we're all okay with our finances and everything, then we can come together for each other and understand each other better without trying to victimize each other. Because now we don't have anything to hold us back for being the full us's that we choose to be for us. The problem is, they may be something that I don't want to be, and I may be something they don't want to be, but at least we'll know. And we'll know what each other wants. But because of the lack of that, and because of them pulling away or not having time to be there in my life, we've lost that. Now they say I don't have time for them. I have a lot of time where I have health issues that affect me from being able to communicate the way they expect me to communicate in. And they put off a facade. They like to be fake, and they don't like to be honest about who they really are. And I've noticed that. And they get offended by me saying that and noticing that. But that's what I've noticed. That's how I felt. So they got to forgive me for feeling that way, because that's how I've taken it. Because there hasn't been anybody that wants to pray with me and the way I feel prayer will work and heal me. And then I notice that science confirms can help. It's unconditional. That even says that it comes from Christ's teachings. But I don't expect them to if they think that by doing that it goes against their belief idea of how they feel they're supposed to pray based on what their prophets and leaders tell them to. That is conditional and not full unconditional faith healing with power, where everybody can do it. Women, men, gals, girls, boys, children, babies, whatever form of species can all do it. We're all connected to that power. Even bugs, even animals in some form. We're all connected, and we all cause that creation to either bring each other together or push each other away. And that's how things work. I actually do care about peace. I do care unconditionally. I've been there for friends that got hurt and who tried to kill themselves when everybody else chose not to. I was there for people that I noticed had mental disabilities that other people tried to call the cops on them when they had mental disabilities, and I was there to defend them with the cops. Even their guardian didn't believe I was there, even though they knew I was, because I'm the one that handed my phone to the cops when she talked to me and told her that they were there. And then she spins her own story. I've had people make me look like I wasn't even part of helping at all, trying to push me away, make me invisible. I know how it feels to be invisible and to be isolated. I've been put in that position now, and it's hurtful. But I believe in healing, so I can relate to people that feel invisible and feel like they're being pushed aside by their family, their friends, and everybody more than most may be able to. It doesn't mean others won't be able to some degree, but I can fully see and understand it to a huge degree because of what affected me and has been done to me. Doesn't mean I'll have the cure for you. The best thing that I would tell you to do is find what brings you joy. I can't bring you that joy. You have to bring your own joy. Another thing is, I am all about healing and creating reality. And I'm there to help you create that reality. You matter. Now I want you to know that this recording is going to be as long as this recording needs to be for the introduction and overview chapters before I get into chapter 1. So chapter 1 will start on page 29, and that's where we'll get to that. So I did that in the 3-hour recording. Also, I want people to understand that 3-hour recording I did was for a purpose of letting you know what I spiritually felt I experienced, but it doesn't mean that I believe in a God or a creator of anything. I believe that we're connected in some way. So I don't feel like defining it, nor am I saying that I'm some chosen one or whatever. I think we're all special. I think everybody can connect with the same things I connected with when you get to that childlike atmosphere, when you get someone like I was able to do that one time that will be able to do that. And that's why I want to do this, is I want to be able to get it to where we can just do it in real time without worrying about having to manifest to see a higher being. I can't guarantee we'll be able to do that. I more focus on manifesting reality and working on manifesting finances and financial security and our dream life and our house and things, and how we can do that. And it starts small and then we can go big is what helped me at first, but we can actually go big right up front when we have 4 or more people open to it, even if we're not professionals at it. But as a minister, I'm allowed to do it, and I felt that I got the calling, so that's why I'm saying that I can do this, because by law it lets me, because I felt that way. And by being a minister, you become a minister because you feel the calling to be a minister. And I felt it through the spiritual. It doesn't mean I'm ministering in a religion capacity. I actually just believe that whatever you want to believe and be authentic in, you don't have to believe what I believe. You don't. If you're just being authentic and following your path, that's awesome. I do want you to be safe, and I want people to know that I only share this information for that purpose. And it doesn't mean that I don't believe in a God or that I do believe in a God. It means that I believe in peace and doing the right thing and that utopia that all religions have spoken of, that ancient texts talk about. Because if their text talked about eating food right and doing all these things, which I know it does, then, and energy stuff that taught me how to heal and focus from within, then there must be something to it. I was able to do it. And that's why churches are so desirable to some people, or the teachings of miracles. That's why you see miracles everywhere. It's because they get you into a belief mode of that church is what gives you that belief power to do it, when it's already with you, whether you're part of a religion or not. It's just believing inside you and calling it, believing you're worthy of it, knowing that you are, regardless of whether you're doing what they consider sin. I think the biological and emotional feelings affect your ability to create and manifest things. And I have heard different peacemakers and gurus say that when they chose to be celibate and not do any sexual acts or feelings like that for 3 years or 13 years or more, when they did it for at least 13 years, I guess they were able to do powerful abilities even more. But when they stayed celibate and not had sex, and they allowed their body to mature without doing those things by their own free will of choice and belief, they were then able to have more energy, more power. Now, I've also heard people that have done things with manifesting through sexual acts, or when they did it the certain way and released a belief, then they manifested things into being through that type of ritual idea. So you can go both ways, and it doesn't mean either way is bad or good. Both have its benefits and powers based on the individual. And so I have kind of done the balance of it. I have noticed what affects me and what doesn't affect me, and I also know that there are societies that have messed with me that cause me to feel weak in certain ways. So that's why I've chosen to process my records to be pulled, because it gets me off of those programs, or it's supposed to, so that they can't or they shouldn't be messing with me even now, because now I'm a minister. They're not supposed to, because I don't go by their rules or agree to their rules. I go by my own belief system and left their religion. So I'm already considered left. They should be pulling those records because I shouldn't be part of that. And they shouldn't be messing with me as a minister anyway. Regardless of my disability status or statuses, I've learned to heal, and I'm working with that path of belief. And I'm supposed to have my beliefs be protected and allowed to be utilized and work, and not to be worked against. And they're trying to work against them, which is against the law of it, going against my personal belief for me to be protected and healed, which I know I am. And when they have tried to come after me, I've been able to prove to them through tapping into the same power they have by being even stronger, because another being has been helping me, or something has been helping me to be free and protected in that way. And I was able to get certain things back and notice them doing it and to stand up for myself. And it freaked the person out because they thought I didn't believe in a power of higher self, and maybe they thought me being able to do that and stop them caused them to feel that I was a powerful being of evil, maybe to them, but I wasn't. I was a good spiritual being, and the person seemed and came across as a really nice individual, but they were just following a false belief of me, and they were doing it based on what they felt their belief in religion and society of that belief, allowance of their religion within their society and agency that had them do that. And I'm talking about a recent occurrence that just happened the night before, or a few days ago. And I witnessed someone coming into my apartment in the morning, and I felt someone was laying by me, like a being or somebody. And I felt that on my bed a few times, where someone was pushing on the bed a certain way, as if someone was there, like being watched by people or spied upon, or secret invisible individuals, but that could manipulate this space as if they were there but not there, like spirits but not spirits. And so it made me wonder if there's agency spying on me every time I sleep at night. And so I've found certain things that help to notice what's going on. But what I've also done is they've stolen things and then they bring it back, and then they've done other stuff. I've had nurse aides in the past that have come in and then did some secret things, and then I found out that they did it, and then it came back and showed up, and I found out some of them were military, and I tried to tell the company, what about this person that did that, and then they talked about that person not existing anymore. But I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have a Zach. We don't have this individual. And that guy always came as Zach, always on the schedule as Zach. And so they knew this, but they changed and moved things around. So I was being secretly messed with by government individuals within the system ever since I wrote my book, or started doing it, even before I put it out. And so, because I shared things with people and told things and witnessed things, and some of it scared the bejeebies out of them, because it was realistic and very easy to be aware. Some of them got a little concerned with their belief, but then when they saw that it was something that was happening or started to notice, it scares them. A lot of people in religion scares them to hear about gang stalker programs or stuff. People outside of religions, it scares some of them too, and they want to classify you as insane for bringing it up. But when you have things to back it up, or you witnessed it, but that you're about peace and healing and focus on healing and meditation, that you would prefer to do that, and the more you do that, the less this other will be there, well then why won't people do that? They want you to stay insane. They don't want to heal you. They don't want to heal the way that you want to heal and manifest the way that science confirms it. And if they do, they're not sure if they trust doing it because they have a different belief system than you. So everybody kind of stays out of people's lives more now, out of other people's life more and more now, because everybody has their own weirdness awakenings, and they're noticing it, and it's freaking out everybody, even the ones that are stubborn and jerk offs to people. Even they're figuring it out, and they're starting to waken up to compassion feelings and sadness and awakenings of being better and becoming good. And it's freaking them out, because they used to be bad and they loved being bad, but now they're starting to feel good because they're starting to realize that they're connected to our goodness, and it's changing people. And it's because we're meant to be a higher form of self, and they're starting to realize they were us and we were them, and they're starting to realize, why would I want to harm myself? Why would I want to do that to that individual? So people are starting to change. Even if you don't see it, it's happening. I've been seeing it, and having that experience, noticing that I made the right choice then in December 2019 recently. And now that experience happened in the last week, where that person came, even they noticed it. And because of my Himalaya salt, Celtic salt, and inspiration to do that, and protection of thought and drinking it as well, it's making my voice be heard more. And it's healing people that hear and listen to it, even if they're evil or bad. It's chipping off their evil. It's making them hear the pain to be healed from them and me. And they are a projection of me, and I'm a projection of them. They're starting to change, and they're starting to get snuffed out, because they're waking up to the pain and abuse that they blocked out, that they caused, and that others caused them. And they're making wrong accusations of me and others, and they're starting to realize that we're no longer whoever we were, or the way we reacted. We thought we were doing the right thing, and now we know it's wrong, and we're doing the right thing from what we know now. And we're not going to be stupid and act like we did before and be dumb and childish like that religion kind of brainwashed us to be. And the system did to us, because they weren't telling us the truth. And so that we knew something was wrong, so we were acting up, we were feeling unfulfilled, we felt that we were weak, we didn't feel that we had power in us, we were trying to relate with others, but then we were told that we are, but it's conditional, and it's not. Once you free yourself from that and you realize that things are not conditional, they're unconditional for healing, but unconditional means that there's still conditions of recognition that you need to choose a side, to do good or to do evil. So even though things are unconditional, there is a peace to it and a balance that you need to figure out what side you're okay being. And are you going to be good, or are you going to be bad? Are you going to cause harm, or are you going to heal? When you cause harm to any future forms of life and your current life and those that you love, and children and grandchildren and whatever that are connected to you. You're causing harm to them because you're harming others who are other lifetimes of those relatives of yours and those that you love, that hug you and care about you and there for you, that don't see the bad because you've never been told them that you were that did those things, which you know if they knew, they wouldn't feel happy that you did that. So we want to change. We want to be better. So with my family, feeling that I haven't apologized to things, I don't know what they want me to apologize about. They'd have to tell me, well, you yelled at, okay, well, what was it about? Why did I yell? What occurred? What was it about? Well, it's the yelling that was bad. What was the yelling about? What was the circumstance about? What happened? Why did I stand up to you? Why did I tell you off at that time? I'm sorry I told you off, because it's, I'm trying to do better approaches. But if you're getting all huffy, I'm going to get huffy too, because I match your excitement. And it's just how it's going to be. I do better than I did before, but I'm not going to be belittled and shamed and put down for my feelings. But I also don't want your feelings to be not known. I want you to heal. I don't want us to hate or fight and be negative. Let's be positive in a positive understanding. It's good to be aware of the negative circumstances. What I mean by that, to me, is we need to find ways to make solutions on why the thing is negative. Why is it negative? What's so bad about it? What's really happening there? Why is it that I feel negative about that? And what is my solution to correcting it? Well, I need other people to help me, but since they don't feel like they want to, then I got to find someone else that does, or I got to do it myself. And that's because it really matters to me. And if they really love me, they would understand how much it matters to me and be willing to do what they can to help it work. But I forgive them for what they can't do because they're in pain and they have health issues. But they've told me I wasn't there for them at times, and I tried to be there for them at times. But there was times that they weren't there for me when I was younger, and so me trying to be there for them was a little bit hard when they weren't there for me. Because I don't know how they would want me to be there for them, because it's always about them above me. But I tried to still be there for them, and I did hang out with them during those times when they reached out to me. I reached back and did that. And they said, well, why aren't you calling me to go to a movie? Why aren't you doing this? And it's like, and they tell other people. They always do this around other people. They say, I was waiting for Sam to call me, but they're not talking to me. They're talking to the other people. And I'm standing right there. And this is part of the belittling. They don't know it's belittling, but maybe they do. But what they do is they act like I'm not calling to hang out with them, and they feel lonely, and while they're single, and I'm like, well, I would love to hang out with you if I knew when to call you. I haven't called you because I didn't know you would want to go to a movie that day. I'll go to a movie anytime. Just call me. Just tell me. Why do I have to call you? Just call me up and say, hey, let's do that. If I call you, when I've called them in the past, they've been busy or they got mad at me for calling them at the wrong time. How am I supposed to know when to call them? They have a job, they have a family, they have children. I don't currently, or didn't at the time, and still don't until I do, which I'm working on manifesting a life that me and someone would want. And if she wants to have children and we decide to, then great. That would be awesome. It would be nice to have a child or to be able to help those children to be there when we're ready to. But we have to emotionally be ready for it and understand it. But even if we're not emotionally ready, if it happens, then we would know that we made that choice to have that happen. So that's how I look at things. So it's about communication with the heart. It's not just communication. It's communication by the heart, by your heart and your feelings, your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions as one in peacefulness and love, in the way that you can do peacefulness for you and I can do peacefulness for me. And so when we do that for each other, we can correct all of these things. And so I'm going to bring up stuff about extraterrestrial and other things, but I wanted to give this a note and let you be aware of this. And now I'm going to read this introduction amount, and I guess it's going to be like 29 pages, is it? Or 21? I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's like 29, I think. Yeah, so 28 pages. I'm going to read 28 pages here. But I wanted to finish my thought that my family and my feelings, my feelings matter. And I know that everybody knows that their feelings matter too. Here's the thing that is interesting, though. I have health and they have health. If our health and our focus and our needs aren't met, then we're not going to be able to communicate the way that each other wants, because they want more of a physical response. They want to test my health. They want to test my problems. And I don't want my problems to be tested. I don't want my issues to be overly looked at when I've explained it over and over. And I've already done the testing. I've already figured out what works. And now that I know what does, they want to confirm what they think works, even though they're not me and they're not going through the pains and they didn't see and experience what I noticed does help. And so I'm about organic vegan eating and other things that I learned from a blood doctor, then learned from a nutritionist, then learned from a whole bunch of other people and individuals, and I became an amazing person And that's what I'm about now. I want to do what's right for me and right for others that desire me to. I don't want to force anybody into anything, because that's not right either, nor do I want to be forced or be classified as or dictated or labeled as mentally ill when I know I'm not, based off of it. But those that do that is on them. That means they're classifying themselves of what they think is. And that's basically them thinking they know better about another person, is if they think they experienced what that person did, or they think that they're glad they didn't, because if they did, then they would be. And so, great, I'm glad you haven't experienced what I had, because if you did, then you'd also realize it differently, but then you'd have to classify yourself as mentally ill. But if you have experienced what I have, and you're classifying yourself that way, and you know it's not what others are saying, but you think it is because others are telling you that, and you feel that way and you just can't handle it, well, then that's why we don't relate with each other, is because I don't see it in that fashion. I don't put myself down. I build myself up. I find solutions with what I see, even if it's strange and weird to you or others. Even if I say it's strange and weird, I classify it as, I put it as, not classify, I tell it as it is. What I saw, what I experienced, how I took it, and I don't really believe in defining it anymore. I see it in the way that I see it in or experienced it in. Yes, I defined it in a positive, spiritual manner, but I also can see the other side, that it could be this other, but I don't see it as that, because when I followed what that other that was somewhat spiritual advised, I knew I wasn't being deceived, and if I was being deceived, it helped me heal. So if it's healing me, then why is it wrong when your other stuff has all these other things that I am aware is wrong in so many levels that you don't even want to know? So you are basically hiding yourself from the truth because you're afraid you can't handle it. And you can only handle what you can handle. And that's fine. All I want to do is meditate and pray. I don't care about the extraterrestrial stuff. I know that there's something going on. I do care about what they may feel their feelings are, if they have feelings, or their way of being and their knowledge, and I respect as long as it's not harming or controlling or enslaving. And that's the situation here. That's why I want to meditate more, so that all these other things don't have to be focused on or looked at as much, so we can heal and I can manifest my desired life, which I know is supposed to be already. And I want yours too if you want it. But if you don't, you can just do it for me. We can just do it for myself, because that's what I need for my healing. So anybody that cares about my healing so that I can communicate better with you in the fashion you want, I'll have to have the needs met and taken care of so that I could feel comfortable being around that atmosphere you want me to be around. But I also don't like complaining or being around those that want to complain and put people down. I want to build people up. I want to heal the world, and I know I can. And I know others can too. We're all special. We are waking up to it, and that is what my focus is. And I have to focus on that so that I can heal faster, or at least have a chance of healing, because if I go the other direction, then I will be focusing on the things that you and others don't want me to focus on about what's going on. So you might as well just provide me my desired life, then I can make it a better world. But that's the thing. Because I want a better world, they know their regime would fall, and so they're trying to stop others from meditating with me for that better world. That's the answer right there. But I have the power in me to make that better, and so do you if you choose to, and I know others are too. Regardless, it's going to happen. It's supposed to. It's been prophesied in years of ancient texts. And whether I believe in those prophecies or not, the good or the bad, I'm focusing on healing. And I know that healing and manifesting reality is the best course of action for me. Now, others feel that deciphering codes and being aware how to be one step ahead in that way helps them. And that's great. And eventually I might learn that. Until I feel physically healthy and protected in that way, I have to follow the path I'm on. And so I'm going to go over this introduction chapter. And this is kind of interesting. I'm excited for this because it's huge. So let's go into this right now. So, introduction to the book of extraterrestrial alien experiences mixed in with solutions to help deal with abductions through belief in the law of attraction, meditation, prayer, to make all your dreams or desires or hopes or requirements that matter, is what I'm going to define it as best I can. Requirements that matter come true, as well as to finally bring the world its full potential truth of alien creation and bring future bliss. That's what I'm about. That's all I care about, is bliss for all species and beings that wish it. Because it seems like that's where we're going towards. And that's what people see. So as soon as they're outed and they come out and bring up who they are in a safe pattern, then we're good. So I'm surprised they haven't taught us to be blissful about species and all beings, because if they do that, it would then get us to be more acceptance of them instead of freaking out when we see them. And so I think doing this meditation of manifesting desire life is good, because then we can handle the crazy stuff. I can handle a little bit more so because of my own experiences of it, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to be startled and react. And maybe that will affect them more because they can telepathically feel the feelings more. And so that's why they don't out themselves or show themselves in that way, because they have to see themselves as human so that they can kind of handle being among us, so that the reactions and thoughts aren't as strong or scary or mentally damaging for them or psychically damaging for them. And I understand that to a degree. I would, or at least I'm doing my best to relate to that understanding of how I can relate to it, such as hearing something too loud or seeing something too bright or that kind of thing. For them, hearing something in their heads way too much that is an emotion and feeling that startles them and can mess with their focus and their task at hand and their ability to be better and to function the way that they can for them in their telepathic abilities or the way that they are. It startles. It's scary. And I figured that out the first time I saw an experience, which was the 2015 experience. So here we go. So that's the introductional heading chapter-ish for the introduction chapter here. And then it says, here's the sub-chapter, my reason, or the subtitle, or whatever you want to call it. My reasoning on studying alien experiences interpreted. So this is on page 1. So here we go. This is my book of truth through my mind, eyes, ears, and senses. Normal and abnormal, as well as unexplained experiences, senses heightened and unheightened, as well as experience through great unexplained and researchable scenarios that many people have witnessed and experienced in life. Life's ongoing goal is to find the meaning of life, to survive, or to go through its life challenges through unexplained experience that sometimes seem to come across as irrational or psychologically improbable. So like believing in a God or believing in the Holy Ghost or spirits or seeing spirits or all sorts of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to start with this start of this sentence here. The last 2 sentences of this page, or whatever here. Some would come across as insane or crazy. when we say we've seen something, or we notice gang stalking, we notice that someone got in, but then we noticed that they were there and they left signs behind, but no one else is there to see it, or no one else can believe that this would ever happen and that they could be allowed, yet it says it on quitmormon.com that gang stalking is allowed by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint religion, and there's a lot of connections and similarities to that religion and Scientology religion, and then all these other religions are starting to have this similar connections, such as the Vatican, and every belief system and religion and Muslim mosque connections. They're all connected. They've all made agreements with each other. Doesn't mean they all agree with the same belief system. It means that they've all chosen to kind of follow each other by the law, but then allow these secret government MK Ultra type problems. And they've done this, and it's now actually fact. Other people are noticing it, that it's fact because of their own experiences. All religions have a criminal connection within the religion, and they know it. And they've altered scriptures, and they've hidden from those scripture teachings, and they've allowed those altered scriptures to be followed to the key, saying it's completely true rather than it's not fully true, because it's not fully accurate, it's not fully finished, it's been changed, it's been altered to control. We can all heal, we all can manifest things. So some would come across as insane or crazy. We all wonder where we come from and how we are here. Most of us follow this idea from our belief systems, where religion is the only true plausible explanation, because only God has answers, and we are told by Him not to try to understand it in the way our minds want to. However, I have come across this idea. I will now explain. My spiritual blessing in the religion I believed, I do not believe this anymore, so I have to make that clear. The blessings in the religion, it's called a patriarchal blessing, and other blessings that were given on me by priesthood leaders and stuff, giving me blessings of saying I have these gifts for discernment on top of what my blessing already said. I believe tells me from God to write down the things I think, feel, and notice. Now that I do anyway, because I feel I was told by a higher self to do it, in agreement that blessing, whether it was true or not, and now basically is something I should do. So it would be good for me to do it regardless, and anybody too. But I was told specifically that I should, both within that religion and in my blessing and in real life. So people telling me that I shouldn't speak my mind and my feelings and everything I see and feel, well, that patriarchal blessing in that religion told me to do that, so why shouldn't I? So it kind of gets them to have to go around it. And then they say, well, I have authority over that, and blah, blah, blah. But I was told differently, that we have our own individual revelation for us. And that, yeah, the leaders would be over us, and then they try to define it and change it. But I was told differently. I looked into it a lot and talked to many bishops, stake presidents, and I talked to other stuff. Now, I was told that blessing was personal. Well, it tells me it's not in the blessing. I should tell everybody I think, feel, and notice. I should tell you all. So I'm doing that, but it doesn't mean that I believe in that religion anymore. I'm just stating a fact that regardless whether I chose to stay in that religion or not, I'm doing what that already said to do regardless. So I'm not going against it. I'm actually promoting it even more. It's exactly what it was telling me to do. And others say, well, your blessing is private. Not if the blessing says it's not, and that you should share them. Hello! It's sitting right there. And I determined it that way. I prayed and thought and could, and I'm supposed to. So I'm following it. And I'm my own minister of my own belief system now, where I believe that is something I'm supposed to do, but not because that religion told me or that individual, I do think that that individual was individually inspired by a higher form, even if they weren't, that knew that I would get to this point. And that's what I was told by that. And my mom tried to tell me, you know, I'm insane, but I'm not, because according to the belief system and the blessing, it says that I'm supposed to share my way I think, feel, and notice things, and that my noticeability is from the heart, that I'm accurate about a lot of this information, what I see and feel and notice, because I do it from the heart. I understand people's hearts, even if I don't do it in the way that they think is heartfelt. I've done better, and I haven't always been good at that, and I've done my best to be patient. But when I'm being put down to not express these things, that's when I have to say, I'm sorry, I can't be sorry about this. I have to let it be known, because I'm doing it from the heart to help. And every time I've been pushed aside by my family or others, even though my mom and dad have helped me, they've given me things for my health that were very kind, where when I changed the way I eat, they were willing to provide me needs when the governments and others weren't helping me have those fulfilled health needs, that they gave it to me as a gift. They gave me funds or food for funds for the food, giving me the food so that I could have what I needed for my health requirement that my doctor wanted, that the government and others weren't allowing, or that food stamps and others wouldn't cover when I required it. And I feel horrible that I even had to be part of that thing. I want to manifest so I don't have to be on this anymore and heal these things. And so that's what I'm about. And I want to do the same for others so that people can have the sufficient needs for free. And that's why I was told by the higher self that I need to share it, and that I will. The more people buy my book, the more that I get off and get things told and shown. And now you have this to go off with the book so that you can change in your own personal book what I'm actually meaning now is better. So anyway, I'm going to start with however on page 2 at the top paragraph. However, I have come across this idea I will now explain. My spiritual blessing in the religion I believed in, so you can put that in there, I believed in back then, tells me from God to write down the things I think, feel, and notice, and to tell my friends and tell people the things I feel, think, and notice as well. I was told to write it down and let it be known, so this is what I've done. I don't do this lightly, nor do I do this to lead anyone astray. I'm expressing what I've noticed many people can't understand, things that contradict or things that go against one's personal belief, unless they're given the same experience or can come across giving the benefit of the doubt. And more than the benefit of the doubt, you have to fully put judgments aside and heal with others and heal with me in meditation of prayer, the blessing and focus that I feel will work for me, not typically in the way Greg Braden and them said to do it in, but similar to that I've noticed will work, and doing our best to do the similar things they did will help. But with the limited abilities or things that we have for us, doing it for free and without experts in their technology that they had to do it with, we can do it, which they weren't really using technology other than monitoring where the tumor was inside the body or the thing in existence. So we don't really need the technology manifesting, because they were just focusing on showing that it's healing it. They weren't using technology to heal it. They were using their own power within them to heal. It was pretty cool, the non-medicine hospital. But so did the Tibetan monks. They did the Om sound, which is the sound of the universe, and they used it in a certain pitch way that they were able to get it to create. But there's a way to do it through just thought, feeling, belief, and speech together, and then it is. I've done it on my own. And I've had people help me as I did it, possibly making it happen. But then now I have people trying to regulate or stop it from happening through controlling the frequencies of our world. That's why chemtrails and stuff got even more powerful, to try to stop from these things manifesting, that we can manifest, to block our vibrations and our abilities, but that can't work. We're getting stronger, and that's why I'm doing more Celtic salt and Himalaya. Reverses their vibe back at them, and it destroys the technology and it out of my body. It kicks it out of other people around me just by being around me. It's so powerful. It's just, I've noticed it, and it's getting stronger and stronger the more I feel and think that way. They make it be so. Many people say that everyone can proclaim truth through over and over believing until it consumes them, and that's their belief. They make it become true or seem true through overintelligence of that belief. Do you know what? Yes and no. There's a thing where they noticed with studying water and studying plants that you notice you can heal and then you don't heal when you do certain things, certain tests. And so it's not just your thoughts and your feelings. There is a chemical situation that your body reacts to, and what helps amplify and what helps put it down or causes harm. And so chemicals and things were made to naturally outdo the natural, or it does. And so they took it from chemical things that mess with the natural, and they tried to do it to subdue or to make a synthetic version, thinking that it would work, to try to make a man-made way of doing it. And the natural is always going to be more stronger than the unnatural. It's just how it is. Because of the pressure of the way that it was made was stronger and more sufficient than the other was. Or because of the technology of what created that to happen, whoever's controlling that made it seem natural and was more natural because they're more heavily advanced to make it be what we think is natural. But what we're doing now with our society is they're doing it more in a marketing controlled system. It's not a free society system, it's a marketing controlled system. So some of it is to suppress it so that full healing can't be done, because then they would be losing money. They only want to help you a little bit so they can get you to come back more and buy more products because it's working. No, you want to do it freely so that it's freely doing it and it can work freely. But paying and investing makes you feel like it's important. If it costs more, it makes you feel like it's better, right? No, it's just a trick. It's a systematic trick. And that's what I figured out and stumbled upon myself. There are a lot of people trying to sell their products really high priced, but I sell my product for what it is, but I would love to give it to people for free if I could. I did it so that I could be within the system of it being a product, and then it cost me money to put it in, and I did want to earn money because that's what I thought in the belief system I was. That's how you earn money, or that's how you do things, is have a product and that people will like and then get them to go for it. Now I've kind of been like, you know what, I need to do this free audio reading with the book so that you all can understand that I am about free. I am all about freedom and free society when it's best to be that. The peaceful utopia that Christ and others have said that will happen. But I'm seeing that it's going to be more peaceful than what we've been told would happen. They were mislabeled and misrepresented when they were explaining it. They were explaining two sides of the way that the individuals wanted to hear it in. And they meant it that it's based off of your faith and your belief, and that's how it can be better rather than worse. When you believe that it will heal, it will heal. When you believe that it will harm, it will harm. But if you have belief that it can be corrected, then it will, even if it's already been destroyed. Even if death already occurred, or even if it just seemed like it was supposed to happen and never happened, and there was a delay, just find them, keep getting it to happen, keep focusing that it is already happened, and it will happen. The more people that do it together, the stronger, but you can do it yourself if needed. but do it with me if you'd like, or think as though I am for you, because I really want to, and I am. And I want it to be a unity type thing where I'm being helped and you're being helped at the same time, so that both of us get what we individually require. And so think in that pattern, and that's what I tried to write in this book, or explain as best as I could, but it's better when I explain it with words and reading, and visual by drawing it to you would make it better, even more understanding. And I haven't done that as much, but I'll do what I can. So here we go. One thing that's different with me is I've had many experiences that were in fact spiritual in nature, and many dreams that corresponded that way. I have experienced overwhelming noticing that my previous notions seem to have been connected to that. My previous notions seem to have been connected to my new findings. And I have even newer findings than what I bring up in the book. Because I wasn't authentic back then. I thought I was doing right, but I was still scared and concerned and a victim. I was being messed with by the projects, and even if I have been, even now or while I do this, I'm a little bit better in control than I was then. But I gotta do this regardless in the way that I feel is important. So I still hold to my faith, whether it's true or is considered untrue. I believe strongly so that I can be able to still stand by the values it teaches. I know its truth matters to me, and I choose to accept it as truth that matters to me and my soul. I stand by my belief to do the good it represents and the end goal of what is meant to be achieved, as well as expecting others to do the same for their own belief. My belief seems to be the only possible and most happiest scenarios and most understandable idea that connects when many things connects with many things, is what I was trying to say, not when. And then science explains energy. The fact is that we can become more than what we are. Science is just rediscovering what God already knows it connects with, but it does help us now. Okay, first off, at that time I believed in a God, and I do believe in a form of higher form, but I was questioning my own beliefs because of everything I went, and it scared the bejeebies out of me that I was questioning. And I didn't want to tell people that I don't necessarily believe in a God, but I was also trying to relate and let people that believe in God relate with me so that they can know that believing in their God, if that's important to them, matters. And you know, if that matters to you, I still hold to that. That's, you feel that is what helps you and has guided you. Who am I to stand in the way of your happiness? I want you to be happy in the way you think happiness is, not a conditional happiness. I want unconditional for you and us. But if you feel the condition is required for you, great. That's for you. For me, I require unconditional healing because of all I went through. And I know that is achievable. And that's what I focus on because of my experience of what I saw and witnessed. And it's okay because we're all going to be at the same realization based on what it matters in my eyes, what I've seen and experienced and felt, and is unconditional. And we're all going to hug and be okay in my belief of a heaven and a peaceful world. That once we know, and once those beings in us see all those and come to that awareness, we're all going to hug, and we're all going to apologize, and we're all going to understand each other's feelings, feel each other's thoughts, and then we're going to get answers. And we're going to make sure that these answers are written and put in our souls and taught to future generations that are supposed to be, if any, or becoming the new form of ascension, whatever that is. So that's what's great. So I want to mention that I also respect others' faiths and ideologies. And I do put that in there. See? The last paragraph on page 2 says that. I want to mention that I also respect others' faiths and ideologies, which express that aliens, in fact, are creatures of us in a way of they manipulated the genes, possibly, I don't know if they did or not, to allow our species to evolve into, and our spirits, in fact, were put in. So I was putting on a twist that it's possible aliens genetically made us and then maybe put our spirits and connected to the higher source of God, or God creation connection to whatever is God, or whatever is the creative source of the universe, Big Bang connection, whatever you want to call it. So there you go. And Matrix connection, maybe the ones that created our program, and we're in a program within a program within a program, and maybe they are themselves that created this program are a program themselves, and they don't know it, or they know one, or question and wonder that themselves. It's just wherever the original creation is. Regardless, I'm just enjoying it. Part of me, no matter how crazy or illogical, understands this idea. But in my spiritual understanding to justify this idea is that if they in fact did that, I still stand by my faith. And I did stand by my faith at the time until I found out what that religion and others were actually doing, and what I was told by higher self I'd figure out. Which my mom and others call me and say I'm being deceived. But I was healed and helped and told and shown, hugged and bawled with by the being that came to me saying they are me and I am them, and to forgive my parents and love them and care, and to understand that we're all going to figure it out and it's all okay, and to not allow myself to have any kind of thing put in my hand or forehead, or even if it did, I'll be free from it, but I shouldn't acknowledge it fully or allow it personally. If someone forces it, that it won't stick, because of my heart. I'll be protected by higher self. As long as I don't want that, I won't have that control me fully of any kind. I don't believe in any kind of mark of the beast idea, because to stay away from any kind of antichrist idea of sorts. And so I was told to be careful of those things by that being, but I was told that I'd be fine, and because of my heart, even if I die, I'll be brought back because of my heart of love and focus of healing. So that's great. So I appreciate, and I do hold to that. So God created Adam and Eve, maybe through a connection of these other species, through them being inspired to. I don't know, but it's possible. At that time, I thought that that's possible, and I was just trying to relate with people as if that's a possibility, and it makes sense with my experiences, but I didn't fully agree with it, nor was I trying to say that that's the case. And then I said, yes, that's the only understandable idea to me, is that there's so much more I learned after that, that it's more than just possible genetic. Its creation is just so tricky that, and time travel and Mandela and everything, different timelines, it's just rewritten and changed and altered. It's just wow. And then people don't notice it, or the people that act like they don't notice it, or they could be programs or NPCs, non-playable character for those that are gamers. Anyway. And so it's, and even an NPC may not know they're an NPC. I could be an NPC and not even know it. And I don't want to be, but I want peace for all that desire peace, regardless who's an NPC and not, and who's a clone and not, or who's this and that, or not, or who's an android, or who's not. We need peace for us all. We need to have our societies for us to be what we want to be, and what we're okay to be, and what we desire for everybody. And it's what you choose, regardless what you find out you are, that matters. Do you care about peace? Do you care about if you find out that you are an alien species and you thought you were human? Would you still be there for other humans and other people that are human? course you would, or you would want to, and you would hope they would want to with you. But you would understand their prejudice, right? You would understand that. Maybe you wouldn't. I would understand, because there's a lot of things I went through within this form, or that I remember going through, and I've seen a lot of shows that represent this same type of idea and awareness, that when you become a clone, you don't know that you're the clone, and then you find out that you're the clone and the others aren't, or the android and they're not, but you remember all the memories they have, but you feel that you're them and they're you. It's understandable. I love and I care about every being till my dying breath, but I want us all to have what we desire to have for ourselves. And I was promised and told that I would get it, and if that is a lie, that's hurtful, and I want to be taken out if I can't have those things that are meant to. Just let me be completely wiped and destroyed, safely and respectfully, and let me be done. That's how I would want it, if that's the case. I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying that that's how I feel. It's not right to put me in this place and to do this thing to me and have these things done to other people of any species. And it's really difficult to understand that. And if you can communicate with that with an individual hearing that, then we need to find a way to do that. And if you have no way to do that, then do what you can to make the best life for that individual the way that individual can have it, and that they get the opportunities and shown without making them suffer. And it's not about being sympathetic, it's about being empathetic and letting it be done. And that's the problem with this world. It's sad, but we can heal it and correct it through meditation. But since no one's wanting to do that meditation, even try it out, it shows that can work until we know whether it does or not. I need to see it and do it so that I can feel and make it, because it gives me hope to create, because I've seen it work. And so that's the thing. So here we go. So page 3. Yes, that's only understandable idea, but it's not. At the same time, my religion doesn't say or express expectation to the way they see it. They don't see it in the way that I am expressing it, is what I meant to say. Or that idea. They don't really say that something happened or didn't happen. They say only God can tell us when the time is, when he comes back. And that's in their D&C. But the way the scriptures express it, which is that God himself made no need to know how, just know it was God who did with whatever was necessary for the plan. So there is no indication of aliens creating, but also there is no indication that it didn't happen. Either way, that doesn't matter. What matters is following the commandments of God's plan and his teachings to bring the world its truth. Not theoretical. I laugh because I don't believe any of this anymore. It's screwed up. Not theoretical info, but the info he tells us through scriptural knowledge, which has been altered many, many times. And inspiration and personal revelation from his appointed apostles and prophets, which I think is bull crap, because we all can be inspired and told what we need to do. Because all of them have been altered, and when I realize that they've been agreeing to things that they never should have agreed with, to do the opposite of what peace is, and to control and enslave and to gain stock and to discipline over stupid things, it's wrong and it's inappropriate. The same things that Christ said we should forgive people of, we're now doing what the Pharisees and the fake priest of Noah's, I say fake because I don't even know if they even really existed, but they are similar to the Pharisees. Probably just as bad, if not worse. They're similar, but they're also cowards and ran away rather than doing what was right. They didn't stand up for the evil they chose to do, but they also weren't forgiven for being misled. They should have trusted that people would forgive them if they knew that it was wrong. Some of the Pharisees and tax collectors became apostles of Christ. There was a couple of them that became apostles and were part of him. And then some betrayed, and even the one that betrayed him killed himself for betraying him, felt horrible about it. So I think it's fine. We need to do the right thing and stand up for what's right. And I know that you'll be okay if you do what's right, or at least you'll help people be healed in the process, or be provided that which helps them. And then that should help you have less torment than what you would if you do have torment. If you think that that's what's going to happen. I don't want that to happen to anybody. I want everybody to be freed or be shown. But it's all the control. It's all the slave system. And people want justice. They want people to suffer forever. So that's why a hell's dimension may be possible, is because of a higher form of us will want that other form of us to suffer enough because of the pain they put through other forms of our life. But that is horrible, and that is not right. And I think that's why people make people suffer in this realm, because they think that if there is no hell, they might as well suffer in life, so that they will never have peace in this life when they're supposed to. You're making the earth hell. You're making earth its own hell, a hell dimension, and you shouldn't, because it's meant to be a utopia. And I don't understand the logic of people doing that. They've been hurt, and so they want to be in pain more and cause more pain. And so they want to be those devils that they are against, thinking that you're the devil, yet they're becoming the devils to cause more pain to you, rather than heal you and heal them. And it's really sad. That's not forgiveness. That's harm. And that's why I want peace and healing and focus on meditation with family and friends unconditionally. They don't want that. And so to me, they want pain. They think pain is necessary. And that's why we're not really communicating as well, or in each other's lives, is because they want pain. They don't want healing. They want healing, but they want it in the healing that they think is healing. And they don't relate. And I don't want them to feel hurt by that. And I don't want people putting them down for that. They just need to be prayed for and loved, or meditated for those that believe in meditation and prayer. Because meditation is prayer. Thinking to yourself good vibe thoughts. Your thoughts, your feelings, and the things you write and tell are prayer. They are vibrations. They do create things. That's what prayer is, a creation of something. It's you're hoping for things through prayer. You're saying this is what you want to happen, and then your faith with it makes it happen. That's what prayer is. It's just your energy saying something, being a certain way, and then your belief that it can makes it. So when you say something in belief, it creates that. Same for me. But if you believe that I don't want that, which I don't, even if I accidentally do that, which sometimes my own pain comes out, and we just need to forgive each other's pains of what we're saying to each other, even if they still want to hold to it, believe that that's not really what they're wanting. They may think they want that, and they're really wanting to be free of the pain. So bless the pain away, and I bless the pain away for anybody that wants it now. And I bless the pain as a minister, and for my family and my parents and others, for their pain to go away, so that we can be healed. And if they're thinking that I have to do a certain act or acknowledgement of something in order for their pain to go away about me, their pain is their pain. Only they can allow that pain to go away. Me loving them and caring about them in a peaceful blessing that their pain is healed is just one step of me being able to do right now. I would do whatever I could to make up with whatever they felt kept them from happiness. And I don't know why they're taking things so personal. I do know why we all take things personally. It's because we're not finding our own joy. We're expecting joy from others. And it's about finding our own joy and feeling that joy, and then being more open to recognizing healing one another by helping one another. regardless whether they helped us or not. And not saying, well, see how I'm doing this? I'm helping you and you haven't helped. No, that doesn't help either. We don't need to do that to each other. That's bull crap. We don't need to do that to each other. I don't need to do that to you. You don't need to do that to me. We just need to love. So as you hear me laughing and saying things, I'm saying it because I really care. We want love. We want peace. We want to be healed through the pains that we all have. No one is worse than another. We all have done horrible things that we don't remember doing. Or if we remember them, then we need to take acknowledgement of that, whatever that is. And some of us are thinking that we did horrible things, even worse. Some people say, well, I never did anything horrible. And you know what? Great. Then let's heal. You can heal stronger then. But I don't want it. And I don't think it's wrong to not want it, is what some will say. And that's their life path. That shows how unenlightened they've chosen to be for their path. They want to be more of for self rather than for others. And that is part of the ascension direction, but it's not the best, because if the ascension idea of raw law of one and other information is true, then once they become the fourth density, they're going to have to know how to love and compassionate to be a light wisdom being. They're going to have to fully love. So they're going to have to realize it, or they won't ascend to the fifth level. They'll go back to third, and they'll keep having to live fourth until they can get up to the higher. So if they want to do more than what they are at fourth, then they're going to eventually have to figure that out. And they will, and they'll be awakened and told by their higher form, because we're all connected to that higher form, whether we like it or not, if that is in fact going on. So regardless, I choose to focus on peace and healing and do my best in the love vibration that I can do, so that I can heal right and then be the best for others. And recognizing the lack of love of me and others is part of that journey. And then we need to be able to love in the way we can, unconditionally, so that we can do that. And that's why I want to meditate and pray more, so that I can get there. And so I know that doesn't work if others aren't into it, but it will work as long as I do it myself, even if others choose not to do it with me, and that's okay. Okay, so here we go. So those appointed apostles and prophets, I believe, are now upon this earth and possibly beyond. I don't believe that they're those prophets and apostles that think that they're powerful people. I'm sure they've done amazing miracles. We all can do that. But at the same time, they're doing it conditionally and conditioning people of when they can and can't, when we can do it all the time. Christ said we can do it all the time. There's no condition to it. They try to put a condition on it other than belief and feeling worthy of it. And the worthiness is based on your choice of what you think is okay. We have been told that certain things hold us back from worthiness, but we're always worthy whether we are doing things that are considered sin or not. We just need to do what we feel is right by what we know is right in us, and then we're good to go. And so there you go. And it really relieved a lot of stress and worry and concern when I did this. So those appointed apostles and prophets, I don't believe in them anymore. If there is more to know, Christ, when he comes, or God inspires a prophet to know things, will be known of all things at God's appointed time. And that's the other thing, is they believe in God's timing rather than your own timing, with the belief that it already can. It can always happen. If you trust that it can happen, it will happen immediately. And if there's any delay, it will be made up. And so we just need to focus that there is no delay, even if there is, and then focus that it's already happening as if it's already happening now, regardless what now is and how long now takes. We don't need to put a time definition on it, nor do we need to think that it's going to be long or short. It's going to happen right when we need it to happen, and it's already happened now as though it already has. So we don't need to say that it's going to be tomorrow or later or years from now. We see ourselves in that moment, knowing that it is, even if we don't see it. Even if we have issues visualize it, we imagine and pretend that it is. And don't pretend, but believe in that way that you see it so that it can, in whatever way makes it happen. And then having other people being positive with you on it so that it can boost your spirits of belief with it when you're doubting. Making up the doubt of others is important. That's what's so powerful. That's how we heal. So Christ, when he comes, or when God inspires a prophet to know things, will be known of all things at God's appointed time. That doesn't mean that our personal revelation isn't true. Ha! There we go. Just that things are accepted more when an appointed leader is commanded by God to provide it. Holy shit! Sorry for the swearing. I have to be authentic and honest. I actually am not sorry for the swearing. I'm not meaning it to be mean. This is just wow. Wow. My way of thinking back then was totally off. I'm like, what? No. No. Okay. So our personal revelation that doesn't mean that our personal revelation isn't true. So we have personal revelation. We have personal awareness. This is how I look at it now. It's not really revelation. It's more of insight from higher form. If there's a higher form. But even not, it's from you. And you know what's right. You don't need a higher being to tell you what is or isn't. It helped me. But now I just follow what I need to follow. That's what the being said. Just follow what you feel is right. You're always right. Just do what you know is right for you. Whatever you do, even if you're wrong, it's fine. That's what I was told. So I just follow me. So that higher self is me and I'm them, and just keep doing me. Keep doing what I know is right for others. It will help a lot of people. It'll do the right for other people. That's the path I've chosen, and it seems that my higher form reached out to me telling me that. That doesn't mean that our personal revelation isn't true. So there you go. Just that things are accepted more than an appointed leader is commanded by God to provide it. No, it's accepted more when an appointed leader commanded by God to provide it, but it doesn't mean that a peon, so I do put this in there, a peon could still be given info, but that doesn't mean that the people will accept it. So I, as a peon, or as a lower form in the religion that I was in, was trying to put a point that just because I experienced and know what it's it, there was a lot of peons that rise up in the belief and became prophets and overthrew prophets that weren't following the right way. And I'm not saying that I want to do that, because I think we all can have it and do what we feel we can. We don't need leaders to rule us. We should be ruling ourselves and following our heart, and then being there for each other when others feel they need help, and recognizing and being insightful and empathic of the needs of others. When we're capable of helping them, we do it from our heart. Not because we're told by a religion or a prophet or someone to do it as, but we do it because we know it's right to do it. Not because a ruler is telling us. That's what Christ has said so many times in his teachings, that even in the churches, teachings of their scriptures. He brings that up in so many ways, and I noticed it strongly about it within the church, and even more so now outside. I'm seeing the full picture now. Some believe that the appointed prophet or leaders will know what the peon will know, and also they will know things that they choose is accepted and expected at that time. If any info is noticed by a person in the congregation, then the prophets and leadership of the religion will also know. That's what they tell you. But when they're hiding it and they made agreements to hide it, it makes you realize that they know a ton, they're just keeping it from the people until they think the people are ready, or until the laws tell them they have to. That's what's going on. And then they say it's revelation. It's a criminal organization. That's what it is. Now, there is history that many servants rose up in the ranks through being given revelation. Meanwhile, the leader of that temple or religion was jealous of God speaking to that person and not them. So just because a peon gives info to others of their personal revelation doesn't mean it's not of God, unless the leader accepts it. At the same time, the peon always honors the leader in those histories mentioned in the spiritual texts and scriptures, even if the leader is jealous and warned by that person or ignored by them or others about what they witnessed and were told spiritually through revelation. They still may be ignored, even though it may be true. Ha! There you go. So, having insight, I don't call it revelation anymore. To me, I see that as insight, because I see we all have insight, we all have inspiration of what we know is right, what we see that others are choosing to ignore. And so we need to share what we know authentically and honestly and genuinely with our heart, so everybody can be aware of it. When people hear authentic, they go, oh, it's genuine. It just means genuine. No, it's more than that. It's from your heart. You're being true to yourself. You're being true to what you're noticing and what you witness and what your pains have gone through, and you're finally opening up to what you truly choose to accept and see, rather than going by what other people tell you it is. Other people telling you that is the way it is, and they have the inspiration, they have the power, they have the knowledge. You can't. Everybody does. But your leaders and rulers are more capable of knowing it than you are. They may have the knowledge of resources and awareness on their side and secrets, but you have insight of what you're dealing with around you. And that is important. You want to correct and create things, and you'll be insightful and drawn to it if you open your heart to it for love and healing purposes. You can open your heart to evil too, so be careful with that. It always says be careful with your desires in scripture and stuff I've seen. So scriptures have knowledge that we can just figure it out on our own and be aware. So I'm grateful for the insight that those scriptures bring up, but you can figure it out. It makes sense. People can say it on their own, and you can get insightful information from people as you talk to them. So you don't have to hear it from records, but the records come from people who created things and was able to confirm it, kind of as a record of how they were able to manifest something or heal people. So it's just knowledge that have been changed and altered to control how it works, but it doesn't work in the way that we've been told it does. It's unconditional. It's through your feelings, your heart, and your spirit, and then we'll find out other ways, even more than what I'm explaining. We'll figure out how to do it even stronger with vibes and getting the right frequencies and all sorts of stuff. So here's the next part. Not everyone, so on page 4, so we need to understand that not everyone can handle certain knowledge and trials. Well, that's what they tell us. But it's true. Not everybody can handle things, but you need to let them handle what they feel they can handle. But it doesn't mean they won't handle it. Saying they can't handle is wrong. You'll always be able to handle it. But you just need to learn how to recognize that you need to be prepared for it, is what people tell you. Well, of course you need to be prepared for something. You need to know what something will happen, but you're not going to figure it out unless you know the warnings about it. It's good to know the warnings so that you can be aware safely how to recognize what it might do, and then you can make the choice to get burned or to cut yourself if you know that there's a warning situation to it, and see how it can hurt. So you need to be, but some people will still want to test it to see how it feels, so they can know why it's bad, and then they'll be like, okay, I'm not doing that again, because then they'll know I don't want to do more, or it can cause worse than that. So when people know that, then they can be safe. But when they're told false things about things and they just listen blindly, that's when it can be dangerous, because then you're being told things that aren't necessarily true because, oh, but they showed me, or they trusted, or see, it happened this way because of it. That's where you got to figure out something else. You got to awaken to your own knowledge. And so that's where you got to stop labeling things something and classifying things. Let it all be known, so that we're knowing the both sides, not all sides, so that people can make a decision. But don't. The problem is, so many people make false accusations, and some people do it so that they can bring a whole better purpose. But we need to bring the stuff that actually is happening out in the open, and the things that why they happened and what the purpose was, and so we can focus and do a better forgiveness focus, so that we can get over the bad and do better and get people in places where they can heal away from each other if needed, unless they're supposed to be together to help provide something. Then that can be a little bit tricky. So that's the thing. So we need to understand that not everyone can handle certain knowledge and trials, but that's because they choose not to, and because others are telling them they can't. They need to believe in themselves and not believe what others tell them, but to listen to their hearts is what I recommend. But again, I don't expect you to follow my knowledge. I hope you do, because I mean it from the heart, and following my heart and following your heart is what matters. But I understand if you don't. I hope that you realize it, and eventually you will, but the sooner you do, the sooner we can heal and stop this pain, and the faster we can grow. It's awesome. So not everyone is equal in trials and revelation or inspiration. Yet everybody is, in my opinion now. Yet we all are open for revelation or inspiration, I'll say, for what we can and are willing to handle and see. God is energy is another concept, but technically we all are, and so are animals and trees and everything. All beings have or are of a spiritual nature of sort, and have been put in by God, or put in, or created, or connected, or grown into, is how I look at it now. All those with a spirit, or energy form, or light body, is what I've heard now, have their own spiritual progression, or their own way of becoming and being enlightened and awakened to a new form. Many people get deep into this, but it's sad. But it's said that all we really need to be aware of is that we are here to help every man, woman, and child know the truth of what church is true, and to follow and to be in his correct church. See, it's a very misogynistic religion, and I apologize for that, because it's the belief system of that I don't agree with anymore. I personally am not writing this book to say that, and so I write this in the book, I personally am not writing this book to say that my church is true and yours is wrong. But I was coming across as a dictation of that it's right. It's so two-sided there. And I apologize to all those who read that. This book is about giving spiritual, scientific, and healing knowledge. And it was supposed to do that, and I'm still doing that now. That's why I'm redoing it. And research to help you abundantly and fully for your physical, mental, scientific, spiritual, and eternal needs. Just do what you need to do for yourself and your heart. You're gonna be fine if you believe that you're gonna be fine. If you don't feel that you're fine, then find me and I will. I'm a minister now. You can call me. My phone number is 801-499-4494. So call me. I can explain, and you can ask me what I really believe if you're confused by this recording or recordings I'm going to do on this. I believe my church is most accurate, and God will come and tell us more. No, I do not. It is not. It is a criminal organization connection, is how others are noticing it, and I'm noticing it too more and more. And my family and others are offended by that, but I've noticed it, and it's inappropriate to not notice it. But it's okay. They are choosing their path, and they'll feel bad when they realize what's really going on. Some of what that church is doing comes across as good to the world. I'm not saying that they're not going to do good things in that religion. Of course they're going to, because they want to look good and be good. That's part of a criminal organization. They want to be good, so people think they're good, and then they contribute more, and then they hoard more, and then they'll decide, oh, I'm going to spend that now to show that we are really good, to make up for their secret hiding of that funds. But then they'll secretly have other funds that they're still doing. People are so... figure this out. You don't see it. I was dumb to it. And I understand if others are choosing to still be dumb to it. I was dumb to it. I didn't know. And then I saw it, and it made me go, oh, wow, okay, that makes sense. That's horrible. And then the people in the church justified it. And I would have justified it too if I was still in it and if I was still being blessed by it. But it stopped blessing me. And it stopped helping me because of me noticing things more than what others are supposed to notice, I guess. And that's why they won't go after me, because I noticed something that is a no-no. And because I noticed something that is a no-no, that they did and caused, and that I stumbled upon, that is where it all happened. But they were going to kill me anyway, even if I did not notice. They were already killing me. I was already reacting to the chemicals and problems of my body. My body was reacting to it. So that's on them, and they were going to let me die. And they're doing that to other people. They don't care. They say they do, but if they really cared, they'd call me right now, they would find me, and they would talk to me, and they would empathize with me, and be like, yes, we know. And they would own up to what they own up and know. But they haven't done that. And if they have done that, they haven't done it to me. And I hear the excuse from my friends and others that they say, oh, well, they get death threats all the time, and that's why they can't. You know what? If they believe they have the power of Jesus and God, they're not going to worry about dying doing the right thing and letting the people know. And they're going to structure it right and stop all this horrible stuff that's going on and let it be outed. Because in my good conscience, I couldn't do that, and I was told not to by a higher form. So who's the better form? The one that told me to warn people about it, or your God who is telling you to shut up and not say anything? And cause abuse and cause sexual abuse that still happen, to cause gang stalking programs, MK Ultra, abduction programs, whether it's ET or grown creature, android-like beings or not, is horrible. And I'm done with that. Yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to me, is a cult, and because of the Quit Mormon information and what they put me through, I can't, in good conscience, agree to that belief system. And I will not apologize for that, because that is something that is horrible and unethical, and I witnessed it. And I'm not going to not tell people about it. It's in good conscience as a minister and as a person who cares about freedom and belief of healing. That religion is a conditional, controlled, misogynistic, racist origin religion, no matter how much they try to cover up their mistakes. It's horrible, and they need to acknowledge its horrible acts and recognition. And them choosing to push it away is great, but they're pushing away more, and they're only doing it because the law requires them to, and that's why they're doing it. They didn't do it because they think God wants them to. Secretly, they still follow those misogynistic belief systems, except for the new prophets that become prophets may take over the old belief system of the old prophets. And so it becomes a new religion. It keeps becoming a new religion. It's not the same religion that it was. So it shows that it's not the Church of Jesus Christ, nor was it the Church of Jesus Christ. It's becoming the Church of Jesus Christ is what they're trying to say and acknowledge. And that is interesting because Christ doesn't really want a religion for any of us, our higher form. It's not a religion, it's a way of life that we should be doing for everybody, and that women can heal, men can heal, children can heal, species can heal each other. We're all connected, and we're all capable of that. And we all should be helping one another in that utopia way. We can do that now. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to respond and all the species are going to respond that way yet, but our thoughts and our feelings will be able to do what the prophets of old have said that we could do, such as close the mouths of lions so they don't eat us if we're put in a cave with them. We're able to walk on water. We're able to create water into wine. We can turn a rock into bread that is healthy bread. We can do things like that and create that. So that means the metal in my back of my leg can be transformed into bone and put into the place where the bone needs to be to heal, to have without the metal and have the wrong chemicals of metal be gone and to come out of the body if needed, or to turn into a new form and never turn back to the other and be fully healed and corrected. We can do that. We have the power to do that. We just need to get to the knowledge of how. And that is energy science awareness of just saying that it is and getting to that belief that it is. And that's going to require probably a more ascension teaching, which I was told will happen. So anyway, this book is about spiritual science. Okay, so so sorry I was triggered a little bit, but the trigger was for a good purpose. So here we go. I'm going to start with this book in the middle of the big paragraph. It's kind of the middle bond. So if you look at all after the first few sentences, it starts with all and then you go down. And this book is about giving spiritual, scientific, and healing knowledge and research to help you abundantly and fully your physical, mental, scientific, spiritual, and eternal needs. Now, I don't believe that my church is accurate. Now, where did I go? Yeah. I believe my church is the most accurate. God will come and tell us more, just like he told a religious prophet, in my belief. And at the same time, it's possible other religions have pieces of the truth. I don't believe this church has the full knowledge. I believe they have a lot of interesting hints of knowledge, but I think it's misled information. I think a lot of it could be connected to ancient texts of information, but I think it's said in a way of out of context of idea. The three kingdoms could be the Orion belt. I think they're telling in a figurative form. They could be saying some literal form. Could be that we're all going to be taken and put in one of those three places of status, and one of those three Orion star galaxies have more freedom and royalty status. The others don't. That could be what they're trying to say. And that could be what is being told will happen, is those that are part of this belief system will go to those original places and be considered those, that's the new realm of being. But I also know that this Earth will be that form, and they're talking about how maybe this planet will now be part of that. Or maybe this will become that solar system that already is there. We're just seeing through the looking glass, through our telescopes and things, and technology of those places. And so those places are connected to this. I don't know. That I have no idea, but that's kind of how I'm seeing it now. There's a lot of history talking about the Orions, and maybe that's where the church gets that from, or where Joseph Smith got it from, and all of the others that created that. Plus, with all the things I've heard about Joseph Smith, of him marrying a 14-year-old and all those other things, it just gets me that, you know, this society and world is, we just have a lot of confusion and messed up And I don't blame people for not wanting to be part of that religion, and I'm not part of it anymore. So here we go. The last sentence or two of that paragraph. It says, at the same time, it's possible other religions have pieces that are true. All things are possible, concepts of life as well as eternal life, knowledge and teachings of such things. Now again, I was part of the religion when I first wrote this part of the book. And again, this was written between April of 2000. Well, actually, it started all the way from 2015 when I had my first alien encounter or government encounter, whatever that was, abduction, where I had lots of time and messed with that seemed like alien beings that others have seen, but then I don't like the forms that they were, but I realized more to it. So here we go. So now is the set in big paragraphs. So I did a lot of big paragraphs. It's just the way I write or express myself. So now my book is not to deceive or to tell you what is true or not. Yeah, I'm not telling you that you should follow everything that I'm saying or that you should believe everything that I'm believing. And not everybody is going to. And I don't expect you to. You're following what you feel is right for you. What you feel that you should from your heart. I hope you're following your heart. I hope you're following what you feel is right by what you feel spiritually told and taught, as long as you're not enslaving and putting people down and causing harm. If you're giving to the poor and doing the things of Christ's teaching, peacemaker teaching, then I'm more on your side than if it's unconditional help rather than conditional. But if you're conditional, I'm not fully on your side. I apologize, but I'm not. But I really don't apologize because I believe in following your full heart. So I apologize for you not being able to be in my life and me not being in yours. But I don't apologize for the fact of me following full peace and you choosing not to. Because that's basically what you're doing when you're conditioning. You're basically not for full peace. You're only for a conditional peace that you think is peaceful, which is enslavement, in my opinion. So there you go. Take it as you will. So it's to get you to research and find it for yourself and to help those who want to learn what I've learned so that they can compare or help their research of finding something that they need in their life. Where others may have failed them, I want to be someone that helps and gives them knowledge that I hope helps them. It's not intended to harm at all. I was inspired in my heart to talk about these things, to get it out there so that info can be known of all I witnessed. Whether any is true or untrue is not the point, because I don't dictate truth or expect you to believe or have belief the things I've experienced. But those who have this is for them and those that know others going through this same experience of knowledge, and to give hope and encouragement that you're not alone in this. If you want to know why I believe what I believe, or why I have belief in the way I have belief in, I may write a biography of my life at the time I feel inspired to write. So until then, this is what I call a book journal. My book of alien perceptions of possible truths. My book journal is what I look at it. So this book is not about me, per se. It's about what I have noticed and experienced and how all belief systems are connected to one understanding. I want you to know that before I read on, keep pausing for a purpose here. I'm just going to go to page 13 for this because this is a long recording. So we'll just go with this as a chapter. This understanding is an idea that we all have wondered, and some may accept this idea, others will be skeptical and may fear or stay away from it, due to how these ideas can distract them from things they consider wholesome and feel spiritually are wholesome, and that the subject of this is only theoretical or too dark or mysterious to even pay attention or acknowledge as info. However, all things are possible, and so all info is important. It's what we do with the info and how it's received that matters. I agree with that. So what is this subject? Well, you can say it's out of this world, or even within, or always around us. Unseen or seen and blocked out through our fears or others' fears of how this knowledge may be taken both physically, mentally, scientifically, secretly, and hidden from the public, due to the fear or concern of how it may affect that person's life, if known, as well as economy of all things. Now, also, some of this knowledge may not be hidden from many of you, and many of us have witnessed things but felt it could be the devil or could be military secrets. It all very well may be interconnected. At the same time, it also may not be, and only coming across that way to us or others due to the misinterpretations or first impressions of not understanding what's going on or what went on. Yes, I'm going to say it, aliens. Or in other words, extraterrestrial beings, as well as dimensional forms of other life forms, both corporeal and non-corporeal origins, or other dimensional or time travel beings. I'm going to express as much detail of many thoughts and feelings I have gotten by research and more of my understandings. I will not say whether or not something is true, but only by what I feel could be. Nor am I saying that any of these things have occurred other than in my own experiences that have occurred. I don't emphasize truth, nor do I say you should believe any of this. What I will say on this is to research, and those who do believe, please don't fear this, nor take anything I say as scripture or as truth, but let it be noticed so that if truth is there, it will eventually be shown. I'm all about the facts, but also feeling in spirit in all things, and to love and be prepared in all things, so that all are loved no matter what, so that healing can be there for all. I believe in good and promoting anything that represents to promote good, and to stop evil, such as abuse, killings, or things that are not wholesome for one's physical, mental, and spiritual life of living for now and forever and once past. I'm about honesty and be open-minded about things, as well as practical and empathetic and empathic to all things for good upbringings of all souls and life of all kinds. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second. Yes, I agree a lot on that. When it comes to the way I was explaining it, I thought it was really interesting that I was explaining it in the way church teachings and talks are represented in. I thought that was kind of funny, because I don't really do it in that way anymore. But I do like, or as much as possible, but I do like what it's talking about, that I care about all things. And it shows you why I went the path I have now. Because once I realized that the church was doing evil acts against what they say they shouldn't do, I realized that they're becoming the priest of Noah and the secret societies, and they're not acknowledging it. Or even if they are unaware, they have people within causing this to happen, and they've made agreements to this, and they need to stop those agreements if they really are good. And they're doing what they think they need to do with the law to protect the religion, to stay the religion, but their religion is abusive, and it's not helping the poor and the needy. They're hoarding their billions, and they have interest on that billions, and also other stock market funds that they have that are, and other funds that are in other currencies of all kinds. How do I know this? Because I had a relative that I heard was part of the church and is over all of that. I don't know that relative, but I heard that my relative on my mom's side or something is connected to those connections of the church. He's the chief financial dude of the church. He's over the church's funds and auditing of the funds. And then I have another relative who's a second cousin who works for that same department of the church office in the auditing department as well for their church, for that church. So I know people part of that, and they've stopped being friends with me because of things I noticed that I didn't feel comfortable being around them and their thought process about things and ignoring those things. It really didn't feel right for me to be around them, but mostly because they were always negative and putting things down, and I wanted to build and be brought up. Well, what was interesting is after they left and did whatever they could, they ended up getting what they want. But they tell me that my happiness won't last with the happiness that I've felt for my heart. But I'm also saying that I'm in a situation of struggle. Your happiness isn't going to last because you're secretly allowing abusive technologies and abuses of abductions and things to be done to people. Also, your sexism and your no freedoms for women is what bothers me too. Not allowing women to hold the priesthood or power shows how conditional they are about healing practices. And the fact that they don't even acknowledge that Christ has said, and there is records that have been agnostic records that confirm that Christ had women apostles, and all the men are the ones that rule over things, and men aren't. They're starting to become more equality, they say, but it's too slow, and it's way too slow. And the problem is they've already are a controlled program system to brainwash people within the system to stay criminal. Even if they're not doing criminal things, they're becoming more criminal. The more you stay in that church, the more criminal you become. And the more inequality and the more puss around people you are. Now, I'm not on either side of political avenues. I don't stay on the side of Democratic or Republic because both sides are controlled and are part of the same snake head system. They are, to me, horrible system. And they're secretly controlling and going after us. And they are stopping me and others from speaking out and letting these things be known. But sometimes they're not. They give freedom to religions at times to look good, and then they do other things to keep economics or freedoms from breaking. But what we should be doing is meditating and praying for one another and manifesting and praying for peace on earth. Get all the children in all the congregations of all the religions and pray for peace on earth. Get them all doing it at once with no doubt in it, with believing in their heart. Children that care, children that hug strangers and love everybody. Have them pray. And have them pray and believe that prayer. Have their parents say, yeah, the prayer will work. And believe in their prayer. Even if you're not sure if you believe in it. The children will trust you. And they will pray. And they'll believe it because they know it can. Because they trust your insight when you've been there for them. And they will believe it and it will happen. Don't believe me? I'm going to tell you. If you have a child, pray for snow. Or pray for rain. Or pray for a nice day. A sunny day, a healing day. It will be. Have your child do that. Have a few children do it together. You pray with them, and the prayer will work. You will see it work. So if you don't think children prayers work, get children to pray or meditate and have them do it. This is energy science. This isn't religion. Prayer is what religions took credit for, calling it prayer. But what prayer is, all prayer is just an active thought, feeling process of energy, of asking the higher form connection to create things, whatever that higher form is, even if it's just energy connection. It's just communication to energy around us to shape itself. That's all it is, the program, the matrix to do stuff. So there you go. Do it, people. Just get your children to pray for peace on earth and for the right kind of peace, for healing, that everybody has enough food, the food they require, not the food that you think is food, but the food that's required for yourselves, and it will all work. Just do that. That's all you need to do. I think it's ridiculous that people ignore that, the ones that choose to. But that's your choice. That's your decision. You have that right. You know, you're being authentic towards what you think is authentic. But what I would recommend for me, you don't have to, this is up to you, is we should all be praying and meditating. And if you get children to do that, if you get your children to do that in congregations and in the world, you will see what I've seen. And the world will change. And if that being Christ exists, that being Christ will show up and make peace on earth like we wanted. The end of days will occur in the way that people think end of days will, and then you'll find out that it's not end of days, it's really just a new beginning of healing and correcting the earth from its ultimate destruction of killing each other off. But the earth would still be around because the earth is protecting itself. It has its own progression. Unless the earth thinks it's going to die, that's the only way it will die. And the earth doesn't think that. It's smarter and more intelligent. It grows to give us food and others, and we need to respect that food being given, not alter it. So here we go. Living now and forever and once past. I am about honesty and being open-minded about things as well as practical and empathetic, so empathic, peaceful, blissful, healing from the heart, to all things for good upbringing of all souls and life of all kinds. I want you to have the life that you choose to have for you, and I want the life for me. And you'll be with your tribe, your people of your authentic lifestyle, and I'll be with mine. Even if I am good and I consider your acts evil, or you consider my acts not the acts you feel, I'm not going to judge your choice unless you try to bring it into the atmosphere of people around me that I know don't want that, or if I notice and I can do something to stop or let people be free from enslavement unless they're wanting that enslavement. You thinking that they're wanting it doesn't mean that they want that. It's all about what people choose to have for themselves. So here we go. I also am careful, so this is the next paragraph on page 6. I also am careful at believing others, and it's at the top. So it starts with I also am careful at believing others, but anything others say, I take with understanding their heart first. I'm all about asking questions and focusing on people's true feelings of their heart and soul, not their judgments or my own judgments on things either, regardless whether those judgments are to be believed as righteous judgments or not. They are still judgments. I say things, but it doesn't mean I believe what I talk or research, or that's what I fully believe. I have many thoughts and feelings, and I focus on hope and belief, but I react when I am misunderstood. I choose to enjoy life the way I'd like to without being told how to live or how to have life. I choose to have belief now. Back then I chose to believe. I have the desires of my good heart. I don't follow blindly, nor do I follow blind ideas. I thought I did. Thought I did follow blindly, but I was blind. Well, I had my eyes half shut is how I look at it. I like that term. I heard it from someone that I used to date or be engaged to with their daughter, and they taught me something that got me to think about keeping your eyes half shut before marriage and half shut afterwards. And I love that concept because it's a really good concept of record, regardless where it came from. It came from a prophet teaching, from someone who said it, but I don't like that. But I'm adjusting it to my way of recognition. I say it this way for me because it's helped me. Blind, keeping your eyes half shut. Now they're fully open. I should have kept them fully open all the time. Some of the prophets told to do that, but they don't follow their own teachings. So I thought it was pretty interesting that now I'm following what they thought they were following, but they really weren't. They were doing it in their own way. What I mean by that is I don't say that this is the only way to do something, and this is the only way to find someone. I believe in the idea of quantum physics as researched and found, as well as my spiritual upbringing and scriptural info that go along with the science and complement each other fully. I'm all about the power of energy connection, and what I mean by that, by the way, is the complement each other fully. When I was reading the scripture told, I talked about the law of attraction or the movie The Secret, and I brought it up to one of the church leaders that was a second counselor in the stake presidency that I was in a singles ward, part of that stake. It was over that singles ward stake, the stake leaders over us. And they confirmed that it's taught in Alma and in Jacob chapter 2 and 3 about the law of attraction, about the idea of focus. And I think that they didn't understand about that, the science of it, but it is taught in there about the movie The Secret and stuff, and they confirmed it to me. And I realized they were trying to get me to look at it in a negative way, wrong way, and I didn't like the scripture he told me to look at, because the scripture he told me to look at was offset with it. But chapter 3 is what I mean, complement it, not the whole scripture. It's so contradictory in the Book of Mormon and the Bible and New Testament, all of them. And it's just, and any scriptures of any religion have similar contradictions, but it's just very, very interesting. They tried to do it in a balanced way, but then it got altered to control, and so that's what happened. I'm all about, they interpreted it to control and used it to, anyway. I'm all about the power of energy connection, which is the idea of the universal understanding of the law of attraction. I then use it with the belief in my God in hopes I do as he would be okay with the idea. So out of that respect, and in hopes that I can become that which he and I long for me to become, to be like him, just like we all can be because of us being his children. That's my belief. I have noticed another understanding that's around that can enlighten or even discourage others. One that can seem to contradict this belief, but even so, I stay clinging out of concern that if I let myself not hold to that belief, I will be an elect that gets deceived and isn't allowed to be with God and to achieve what it is I want to achieve. So due to this teaching, many fear and never become more. Yeah, so this, I was afraid, and I was bringing that out, and so I didn't want to be deceived, and so I couldn't see things objectively, and I was starting to wake into that knowledge of awareness. And I brought it up in the book, and I was like, whoa, wow, I figured it out. But I was afraid of talking about it. So the thing is, due to my health and due to my trying so hard to follow and do what God wants in the way others dictate we should do rather than research things they don't deem as righteous, it stopped me from being able to achieve which I want most in life. Now at times, or at least felt that way, so I had to research things so I could understand what's going on with me fully. Because of genetic anomaly, I've been born with due to pollution or other reasons. It was pollution, and it was metals and uranium and other things that were allowed in the 50s be pulled in the water. The Jordan River Dam broke in 1984, and when I was being conceived around April, my mom drinking the water and probably eating the foods as well that were contaminated with all of this at that time where she got that food, and whatever, if it was GMO food. That's when they started it a lot in the 80s to control. And then it was messing with my needs and others, genetically altering us. And this is interesting because around the same time they were confirming of the Gateway Program technologies and hologram technologies around that same time. And so astral projection, law of attraction awareness, they knew this at the time in the military and governments, and they were already doing geoengineering stuff to control the weather. HARP, whatever you want to call it. So I have no syndrome or even understanding of why my body is the way it is. I do now. The issues don't seem to match any connections of how my body got what I have. I went to geneticists, I went to all sorts of people. But yeah, so before I go on, I wanted to mention, I went to a lot of people. I noticed a lot of things. It was horrible information that was told to me that I found out. They couldn't give any answer, and I found out why they wouldn't give an answer or couldn't. Because they were hiding the fact that my genetics were being caused health problems that can turn into cancerous tumors and issues because of that metal and things. And because there was a lawsuit going on when I did try to ask when I was up in college before I went and did the genetic testing even, I found out what was really going on. What is really going on is the chemicals in your GMO foods, genetically modified organism, whatever you want to call it, they're controlling the population. It's population control. If you don't believe me, look in the public record about Agenda 666. And I'm not talking about the Bible, but it goes with the Bible teachings. They're trying to turn and do the mark of the beast society. They've already started it, and they're trying to control people into that age. And they'll probably fully put it together. They wanted to start doing it in the U.S. this year to start implementing that idea of facial recognition and marking. They're wanting to chip people in their hand and forehead, but a lot of religious people don't want that, which is, I'm glad they're against that, most of them, but not all of them, but it's part of the control anyway. Eventually, they're all going to comply, be controlled to and forced into, and they're trying to stop that, but they're not stopping it either. They're being brain controlled in other ways to allow it to happen. But they've already done it in your food. They're already doing it to control you in your food, and you're allowing it to be doing it to you. And you're accepting it by not going organic, vegan, and being aware of what they're doing to the meats and everything. And what they do to animal life anyway. It's horrible. Even Daniel in the Bible warned against it. Whether you want to believe Daniel was real or not, that information is pretty impressive. I am all about any peacemakers and any knowledge that works. And that one worked. So I know there's something going on. Now, I'm about energy science now of healing, and I know what to do now with correct brain information. In this book, I didn't know about it. So anyway, but I did find out, and I did cure cancer, and I don't even get a cold or sickness as much. I do get a lot of runny nose and things that come out of me really fast because of the good food I'm eating, and it gets out of me really fast. All the sickness comes out of me, and I just put it on that and I get it out of my system, and it's really easy. I don't get sick, I don't get cold, it comes out of me quicker because I'm eating healthier. It's really cool. Okay, but I need to eat more than what I've been able to, but I do what I can, and I appreciate what I have, and I'm manifesting to hopefully do what Christ did to multiply it. And I'm doing what I can with that. But I do ask for other people to pray and meditate for me, with me, or for me. If you can't do it with me, that's fine. Just think good thoughts and vibes and manifest. There's a way to do it. I was born with many different medical genetic deformities that affect the bones and structure, the lungs, the heart, the testes, as well as my hands and feet being clubbed when born. None of my immediate family had any of these things. I found out on the news when I was 11 to 13, the babies who were conceived in 1984 when I would have been born, and in that area that the water was polluted by chemical spill in the water supply. That's what was said, and that it was from a flood of some kind. It mentioned that the children would have certain birth defects. Well, I had them all that they mentioned, my mom, and I watched this. They also are putting it in your GMO foods now. They're doing that same thing that this pollution was done to me. So all of your future selves are going to have club feet, hole in the heart, and even worse than what I am. You're all going to turn and become me's. Do you want to be a me with physical health issues or disabled or paralyzation or issues like that? No, you don't want that. Okay? So let's heal and bless and let's eat organic vegan if is what I notice helps, but be smart how you do that. Do your research. I'm not telling you to do it. It's up to you. Do your research. And ask me if you have any questions. I figured it out. But that works for me. What works for me may not work for you, but be careful. They're also putting other stuff in the foods that you don't know. Genetic modified organism is an organism coming from what? Human DNA. Aborted babies, possibly. You can look into it. It's in the patents. You don't believe me? Look it up. They can hold it off for 20 years. Anyway, I figured it out because it was harming me. I think everybody needs to know this, and you not knowing this is horrible. So here we go. However, I didn't really think of looking into it, nor do I know if my parents did now. I wish they would have. I have learned that when there's something that connects you, it's good to prepare for the future for any health concerns, to get as much info on it instead of being so focused on yourself. Be focused on keeping up with what could help later that may not think can, or that is not important to you but may be important to someone you love, to your children, to your nieces, nephews, to people you care about, your wife, or whatever. Don't just be selfish, be selfless. Be aware of the needs of others. But if you can't do it because of your own health, take care of your own health first, but do your best, help them, and don't ignore their needs just because of your own. Be aware and help them get help when you can't help. It's good to get that info, especially for your own child. So remember, all info is important. If it fits with yours or anyone's needs for both present and past and future, all info for spiritual needs, physical as well as mental and scientific info. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to try to speed this along. I'm going to try to keep this under 3 hours if I can. So all info, good or bad, have info that needs to be known so that we can fully help our lives and those of our families and others' lives. All lives are important because we all are connected and are energy beings in some form or another. Now, I am glad I went through this because I learned from my own experience that if I had children or those that do, please, when you hear something, don't discount and don't push away because you're tired or you're busy with other things. When it comes to your health or others, you're in charge of getting that info right away, especially when it is so similar to what's really going on. Also, after acting upon that info early, if able to do so, it helps for future info. And if you aren't perfect or drop the ball, don't beat yourself up. Just do what you can now with what you now can do. See, the problem is there was lawsuits that happened for what happened with that spill for those things, and we didn't act in time because we didn't know we needed to. My parents didn't. I tried to, and they didn't call me back at the time that it would have been good, but they tried to hide. So they don't. That's why research as much as possible about your health, and then you find info and other people talking about it so that you can get it corrected in time. But it does affect your life and your future, and that's why it's horrible, because other people got paid for this problem and I didn't, and I need that funds to make up for those problems. So I would prefer 400 million to 8 billion now, because then I can help others and make better food for people and help people I would want to help, my family. So that's what I would want, at least 400 million. If not, then 8 billion would be the most, but it would need to be at least 400 is what I would prefer, because then I can take care of my needs and help my future. But I would prefer 8 billion so I can do more to do better companies. That would be the best. So I learned from history's mistakes. If I got the info at that time, I would or could have more info that would have helped me with what is needed for me now. Without it, I've been stuck with wondering, if I have children, will they have what I have? Just like every girl's parents have wondered as I dated their daughters or was engaged to, feared that with first started the idea of not choosing me due to fear of my disease or genetic passing to another person. Not all past girlfriends or even parents did this, just to note. Even though my chromosomes were said to be normal, I've been told deep within there may be a genetic code that would still affect them. So due to this and my inabilities to not be able to do physical labor for a job, it's messed my abilities to have a job that I know I'd be able to do that could benefit in financial security. If I could just have that capability of holding physical and mental strength to do so, I would be able to provide for a life for me and a family like others are able to do. I can't. As you can tell, it takes me a long time to explain things. And for those that have been listening for right now, it's been 2 hours and 32 minutes and 30 seconds just about. There you go. And then, so when I had to try other jobs like communications and customer service and to go to college, but then my genetic issue affected me, more affecting my lungs and my life. So I, as anyone would do, focused on dealing with life through my genetical anomaly circumstances, such as dealing with breaking bones and issues of things as they showed up. There you go. I found out now that things weren't what they were before. They became worse as I grew up. I then found out that it's because of my body is similar to an older person's body. An older man's body is what I was told by a doctor. Even though my outer look is young, my organs are considered older, lungs and bones, and my body seems to be doing different things, keeping me alive as well as pushing out things quicker, which made me skinnier and connected to the back scars that deal with having the back surgery and with have made muscles to grow differently, but that also contributes to my genetics also. Without knowing what could happen next, I find new things that get affected, but I keep on going and believing I will find a solution. And I did. I found a solution of energy science. Eating organic vegan foods helped with it, but I still need to eat more. to deal with the skinny situation because of the genetics and organs change and energy science meditation. I know what to do to heal it, but regular Medicare won't do that, and Medicaid and all of those things that I'm under. And so I'm still on disability until we can manifest that other, which I know is going to and meant to happen. So I'm doing it a lot more now. And I feel like after I read this book and get the audio out there like I'm doing right now, it will finally help people know what I'm about and what I'm going towards. And I'm not even scared anymore. I'm focusing and letting people know so that we can do the right thing. Some people may think I'm still scared. I'm actually more alert. And yes, I can feel pain and deal with things, but I've found ways to heal faster. And I meditate and I ask people to think in that way of me for good healing rather than the negative. When you do that in negative, you're causing that pain to be put upon you. You want it to be done to you. And that, I don't want you to go through that. So please don't do that. It's not healthy for you or the people that you love. Because when you do it to you, it also affects your children and your nieces and nephews and those that you care about that you wouldn't want to have happen. Or to people you don't want to have happen to them. So be careful. So my mind and lungs and other things started to be affected differently now. And I find out I have a weird acid reflux disease. That's gone. It's the issue. So for a time I researched that. Well, when I also used a CPAP machine with oxygen, and that actually worked for a while. Then didn't, but also there's more info to figure out my organs. I believe also in another idea, my mind is everywhere. Due to ADHD and perfectionism, and mostly there's so much I didn't know that I find out later, and it's all contributed due to the anomaly of my genetics. It was the pollution, it's the chemicals that cause the genetics to be the way they are. This contributes to the chemical spill in the water during 1984 in Benyon, Utah water supply that was mentioned on the news years later. Ha! There you go. Booyah! Well, the problem is I found info on it, but then I never got info on it back that I requested, and then it disappeared. Now that info is archived. No doctors seem to be aware of this, but then they kind of do when I bring it up. They like, oh, okay. And if aware, kept it secret due to their rules of law. Some are aware of it. It's like someone covered it up, and this was done for purposes of an experiment, or that it just is covered up. I always hoped that it would be uncovered, and maybe me writing this will finally reopen this file that's been hidden. Who knows? All I know is it happened ever since around the 1940s, which connects to other weird knowledge the military even may know more on, that classifies as classified and is now becoming unclassified and getting out into the world now. I believe in the idea of creating your own life with your thoughts. The best way, I believe, to do that is to collect the clues and then put them together and express their reality. Here we go, guys. So now we're on page 10. I'm flipping. Now I have learned is what it starts with on page 10 at the top. In order for my focus to be on the desires, that I focus on good desires in my heart is what I choose to do now. And I do that a lot more now. I'm actually following my heart a lot more. Another idea is I focus on my future as if it's happening right now. Great idea. To do that, I need to feel something is in place. So what I have done is express my reality and imagine my future as a reality. there we go. Before that can start working, I have come to realize that for me, I must express what I've held back. I finally now understand that this info needs to be given and written regardless of who believes, so that my history may be heard and that my interpretations of what I've researched can be noticed and explained in a way that relates to everyone. Not just my own beliefs. I think in this way, and as I do, it makes it clearer that we need to be open-minded and then believe what we feel we should. There you go. See that? I was waking up at this time. I encourage people to read my book, what I will write that will be my biography of my life, and why I choose to do what I do to keep believing the way I do. I will not tell others to believe if they feel differently. I just feel it's important. I explain all that I have witnessed and felt I should express through the recording of things that came to me and made me feel important to write, and that's what this book is about. Now, I may not write a biography at the same time. Depends on what I'm inspired to do next. Now, all of this that I will write next is my experience of alien experiences interpreted. You can look at this as entertaining, or look at this as knowledge, or whatever you choose for yourself. I hope you choose to be aware and understand that all experiences shape each person's life individually. It's up to us on how we take it and hopefully learn from it for the better, not the worse. So I encourage you, if you can't take it, move on to a chapter you're drawn to, because even this knowledge may not be for you, but some other knowledge will be. Here we go. So now I'm going to talk about my alien experience interpreted. I'm going to try to get this done within the 3-hour mark. I'm on page 10 at the bottom. It starts off with this information about the book, My Alien Experience Interpreted. So here we go. And I'm going to bring up a little more info of what I think now with this. First, I want to express that I will break up this book into different chapters that go off of interpretations and things I wish to do my best explaining. First, in each chapter, I will explain my experience. And I kind of messed this up a little bit, but it's okay. Maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. I think it got corrected. But then so here we go. Then I'm on page 11 here at the top. So after experience at the top, it says, then I will talk about interpretations, both mine and what I researched and stumbled upon with the things I saw. Then I will express the ideas that many misinterpret and choose to believe based on closed-mindedness or fear. Not all fear is good or bad, as well as choice or covered due to agreements, threats, or personal work procedures or ethics. They follow that do not fall under what ethics really stands for. I will then express ideas of my own that I've noticed and theories I've thought of yet not really holding meaning. I think and believe it's possible, but without definitive proof, it's not easy to, nor do I hold to these ideas. Now, I was shamed and belittled, and I felt that it was a conditioned belief, and that if I didn't follow it, I would go to the lower kingdom, or I'd never get to the higher kingdom, or that I would go to not to paradise, but to prison, which is a waiting period before the judgment to go to the 3 kingdoms. That's what I was taught to have belief in. I don't have belief in that anymore. I thought that's a slave race type of mentality. But then I realized that you're trapped there is what some said, and then others say you may still have a progression where you can get to the higher form. And some will get to the highest form, but then if you're not married, then you can't be married with your eternal queen or king. And it's just, I don't know how to look at that. I believe in soulmates. I just see it differently. I think there's a different form of being and becoming and creation than what we've been taught. There's a new form of way of being. And we'll learn more as we become that new way of being. And when we get told and when they come again, however that works, if that happens. But right now, I choose to do the right thing. So here we go. It's not easy to, nor do I hold to these ideas. Okay, I'm not sure of them, since I have no recollection, nor have I witnessed or seen or am part of those things that my conscious mind knows. Here we go. Oh, here we go. So I talked about it, proves both mine and my own I saw. Then I will express ideas that many misinterpret and choose to believe based on closed-mindedness or fear. Not all fear is good or bad, as well as choice or cover due to agreements, threats, or personal work procedure, or the ethics they follow that do not fall under what ethics really stands for. I will then express ideas of my own that I've noticed and theories I've thought of yet not really holding meaning. I think and believe it's possible, but without definitive proof, it's not easy, nor do I hold to these ideas. Okay, now I'm on I am. It's the second paragraph on page 11. So it starts with I am not sure of them. So I am not sure of them, since I have no recollection, nor have I witnessed or seen or am part of those things that my conscious mind knows. It's possible my unconscious mind knows, but I chose not to fear over this, but to find out the truth as best as I can. I'm being protected now, so I'm not even worried about this anymore like I did then. But without definitive truth, even if there is any, it can still be hidden or taken away. Yet if done so due to law of attraction and energy creation connection, as well as we do not do unto others, we get done to us in the same manner. We cause unto others good or bad alike. Now, what I do want to mention is all I wish to accomplish on this is awareness. Well, I want to accomplish more than just awareness. That I believe aliens are in fact around us. And that from what I can tell and notice, yes, there is an agreement with a secret government. Or shadow government, whatever you want to call it. I think there's good and bad within it. I don't think it's all shadow, it's some light. But good light, not controlled light. Anyway, sometimes known as a black ops government, or even just deep within the government, that is trying to unite our race with the aliens or to defend or stop that from happening. Depending on what is decided due to agreements always can change. I also know that there are many theories I will go through in my theories chapter. So the last paragraph on page 11. The other thing I will then mention is explaining abduction theories and also why they are happening. But I am not going into detail about all of this or going to give info on findings. My book here is about my noticing these things and what I did witness and experience. I have looked into them by listening to videos on the internet, on YouTube, as well as looking and Googling info on brain thought, energy vibration, as well as movies and documentaries of all kinds. Yeah, I looked into this thoroughly. Maybe not as thoroughly as I would like to, but in the ways that I got drawn to. And that helped me get to where I am now. So on page 12, the next chapters will then, it starts with the next chapters will then express about energy and info on religious understandings that connect with that, as well as what I've done by looking into a lot of these different info. And first of all, when it all started, on how it's interesting how now everything is getting more open towards this understanding. Well, as our society today, through media, music, and everything, putting out ideas that will drown out the truth, or is trying to give clues that we dismiss due to our busy lives or the lives we have because of fear of losing the things we really deem are most important to us to be who we are and why, and to provide for our families' ultimate or simple needs. But now people are giving up on that. People are giving up on helping and healing people. It's sad. People are being mind controlled a lot, I'm noticing. But we're changing. The more I speak my truth about this book, I've noticed change towards the good. And more disclosure happens. So here we go. Now, what's really cool is they are now expressing the truth and bringing out videos from Pentagon workers that spoke to the news finally. I added this into the book since it's new, since I first started the book. I believed and knew the truth would come out, and now it has started. Of course, that is expected, since I will go into things about having a dream that aliens or governments showed me at the end of the year 2016, as well as also knowing the info on Project Blue Book that mentions 2017 to 2022 alien agenda. And I found a video that was Project Blue Book, and it talked about 2017-2022 alien agenda. Now it's gone. Now you can't find the video, or you can't find it. Maybe you can now, but as I tell you, it's out there, and they brought it up on this. Now that's interesting. So it's being prepared for disclosure. We want the right disclosure, so I choose to believe the whole truth, even the truth they aren't sure about sharing will be shared, and there will be no doubt, because even the alien races will come out and tell us. They have been around us the whole time. And they're around us. They're in our society. They're people that aren't people. They're actually alien beings or other species. I've seen it at a movie theater where someone was a small person, and then all of a sudden in the dark, when people were glued to the screen of the Infinity War movie, Avengers, this guy turns into this big creature in the theater, down in front of me. But everybody's focused and like hypnotized to the screen, but then the workers were all seeing it to escort this person or being out. And that person would have been big enough for me to see if I came in the theater to see it. No, this person was a human and then turned into, or looked like a human, and then turned into whatever creature it really was. Similar to a combination of two creatures that were in the movie. So it seems like there are beings among us, and they're different beings of different forms and types. So it's crazy. So werewolves and vampires could be true. I think it's possible. I have a feeling that they are. And I have a feeling that I might even be connected to a possible lifetime of a werewolf. But I don't know. I haven't brought this up in this book, but I'm telling you now, as of things that I noticed. But I've also heard that werewolves are not necessarily bad if they choose to do good. They have a choice. And just like any species. And werewolves actually go towards more of hounds of God for some history books. There was a guy that was killed for saying he was a hound of God, but he was in his 70s or 80s at the time. And I don't know if it was French or European king or rulers that put him on trial, but he said he kills demons and that they're supposed to keep demons in the realm and from coming into this realm, and then werewolves are supposed to stop them. So maybe that's part of my human form choice as well as my wolf choice, is I'm supposed to stop these beings from the beings from taking over humanity. And that's why the more I say stuff and the more people come to me, maybe the more we can heal the world. Maybe that's my why disclosure happens when I speak out, and maybe that's why they don't want me to speak out, because I'm the one to save. I'm one, and I'm not the only one. There's others. that are. Now, I'm not saying werewolves are good or bad. I'm saying that if that's the case, and I am one, and that could explain why I'm doing this and why disclosure happens every time I speak out. Because that's what I'm meant to do, or whatever the creation of connection is. But I'm an organic vegan, so hopefully as a werewolf I keep connected to that. But anyway, the next chapter I will then explain about the idea of thought and creating our own life, while explaining that information as well on how to do that and how I've been affected through feeling I need to express this information so I can continue on the path of my dreams as a reality, as well as helping you do the same as a team. So all of this is part of one understanding of thought that I have had, that my spiritual blessing that I have been given in my belief system, that's a patriarchal blessing, by the way, but I don't really follow it, says and asks me to do that, but I am following it without really following it. My thoughts and feelings should be written, and that everything I think and see and notice should be written and declared to all who will read it. So I am following what I believe I should do. And I did. I followed that, and I told it. And I'm telling you more, and I'm writing more information to people when I can. I'll revise this book, or I'll keep this book this way and do a revised version of this book for what I actually believe now, or it can be revised. This is the revised video recording of it, so I may not even need to write it, because speaking it to me is the same as writing it, letting it be known and explaining it, because I'm reading the words and altering and letting you alter it for yourself. So first chapter will start with my experience. I remember from a child to when I first saw my actual real life interpretation of an actual alien encounter of my own, and then to present date of what I have seen. As I write this, I will then put in more info if I feel necessary, and explain info that I see and notice while writing this draft of the book. Then I will put it in within the book, as you can tell, if in fact this gets out there like I believe it should. Now I end with saying I believe in you and in me and everyone. God, our Creator, matters to me. Also, I believe in you. So if anything I ask, check out the To The Point chapters and look at my vision poster section. That chapter expresses a lot of great value info on becoming all that we wish to become. Okay, there we go. So chapter 14 is blank, or not chapter 14, excuse me, page 14 is blank. I just finished with page 13. Page 14 is blank, and then chapter introduction is page 15. Chapter introduction is Alien Agenda Explained, combined with many motivation topics for solving life's most desired dreams and others everywhere and forever, while also explaining both supernatural and spiritual topics that solve all life and spiritual questions. Chapter overview info. So I'm ending that right now. I'm not going to read that. I'll do another recording. This was kind of a long recording overview. I wasn't planning on that, but only just for 13 pages. Yeah. Just because of what I noticed. But I'll tell you right now, chapter introduction is just 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. So I'll probably do that one with book overview. Book overview is pretty long, I think. Yeah. No, it's not too long, but it's as long as what we just read. It'll go from page 15 to page 28. And then chapter 1 will be next for another recording. So this one's 3 hours. But I bless you all for all those that want to be blessed. If you want to reach out to me, my phone number is 801-499-4494. I am a minister, so I can bless and do stuff for you. If you want to check out my other channel, why I left the church that I left, I might do some new videos on there. That is called Samuel Loomis, Newly Awakened, and I do a lot of healing practices and focuses on there. And I might try to do some on here too, for those that want. But you can reach out to me if you want me to share your story about your strange experience. You can reach out to me by calling me, and if it blocks and you don't get me, you can email me at durbidssamuel@gmail, G as in George, gmail.com. I'll try to put links below. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can get information of new videos that I'm going to express for this book. But I just want my information out there, and I want to help and meditate and do what we can for each other. So I bless you, I thank you, and take care.